Your NFL team is on the clock now. 6 days out from the National Football League's 89th NFL draft. 89th NFL draft. Incredible that they have put this thing on. 25,000 men have been drafted in pro football's history. Yours truly is one of them. You're in the hours now of perpetual lies. Anything you hear right now is going to be either to get you away from a guy they like, kind of tell you a little bit where they're going. There's so much going on right now. By the way, we're going to give you that insight on where Howard Eskin got that A.J. Brown. We're going to kind of remind you a little bit on where that was, because we know of one team that did contact the Eagles for A.J. Brown. We've told you this. I've sent this to Xander. I sent it to Angelo Cataldi, and I also sent it to Howard Eskin. Alonzo Highsmith and Elliott Wolf have contacted the Philadelphia Eagles about the availability of A.J. Brown. That's not a lie. Alonzo Highsmith is director of scouting for the Patriots. That's a fact. Now, you have to take that and you have to understand what I'm talking about here. Hey, everybody's going to call about almost every single individual that's on a particular roster. Years back, John Lynch made it very clear. He called the Patriots about the availability of Tom Brady. Are you under some sort of guise that nobody would call the Eagles on the availability of Jalen Hurts? Tom Brady had that happen. After Jimmy Garoppolo and all that went down in New England, John Lynch made it very public. Google it. I had him on my program. He also asked. And we asked that question to him. Did you really call the Patriots for the availability of Tom Brady? He goes, yeah, that's how we got Garoppolo. Okay, that's how we got Garoppolo. Kimbos, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Hit the like button. Got a special show lined up for you today. One of the top media people in the country is going to test out your show. From Front Office Sports, Mike McCarthy is going to join us. And Michael McCarthy is a guy that covers media. And we have him on the program at 4:30. He's testing your show out. He covers all media across the country. He's done it with the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. And here he is. Congratulations, guys. The guy that covers media is going to be here at 4:30. Jason Cole, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, will also be with us. That'll be at 5:30. Appreciate this. I mean, that's great. We've been looking forward to getting Mike on the program, and he'll be with us at 4:30. So hit the like button here. We appreciate that. Again, I've said this before to you, and I'll say it again. One thing is for sure, okay? One thing is for sure. From now until next Thursday, everything is a possibility for the Eagles, especially sitting at 32. Okay? Especially sitting at 32. Now, before we get going, I do want to start bringing this up here. And you tell me what you'd rather have. And this is great. We're going to get, and by the way, we're going to get into the rumor about A.J. Brown potentially being traded for a chance to move up. And I'm going to tell you what some teams, what we're hearing, are going to do, either moving up, staying put. Because if you're the Eagles, this is what you have to calculate. What do you think the Titans are going to do at 1? Stand pat? Or do you think they trade out of that pick? Okay? Because if you don't have an idea of what a particular team is going to do, I don't give a shit what the Eagles are going to do at 32. They have no idea. Get this. The Philadelphia Eagles have no idea right now what they're doing at 32. on April 18th. They have an idea what they may do, but they have no idea until they see what the board is going to do in front of them. William, thank you so much, my friend. Supers go to the top. Please hit that like button here on a Friday. Next week's going to be Bizarro World, because the one thing about this draft, there may not be a lot of superstar players, but you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a lot of drama. This is going to be a drama-filled draft. I have no idea what a lot of teams are going to do. I've been calling around to a couple general manager friends of ours. And so we got kind of a sense. And I think this may tell you the direction that the Eagles go, what the 31 teams do in front of the Philadelphia Eagles for next Thursday's draft. Real quick, though, I want to show you guys something. Something that will slam dunk my take all the time. Does championships pay players? Winning Super Bowl MVPs, winning Super Bowls, does that pay you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It does not pay you. You get paid on your abilities alone. You do not get paid. Here is the facts. So I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of trading on Thursday night. I'm with you on this. Here. Number one player paid in the NFL, $60 million, Dak Prescott. No Super Bowl wins. Jordan Love, number two, $55 million. No Super Bowls. Trevor Lawrence, $55 million. No Super Bowls. Joe Burrow, $55 million. No Super Bowls. Josh Allen, $55 million. No Super Bowls. Tua Tagovailoa, 53-1. No Super Bowls. Jared Goff, $53 million. No Super Bowls. Justin Herbert, who everyone, including Xander, calls overrated, $52.5 million. No Super Bowls. Lamar Jackson, no Super Bowls, $52 million. And there is Jalen Hurts, soon to be out of the top 10. You don't get paid for winning Super Bowls. You get paid for your talent. Plain and simple. Facts prove it. Not an opinion. I'm quoting you facts. What are you quoting me? Your passion for the guy. That's all you're doing. That's not a fact. If he was paid for Super Bowls, he's been to two of them, how is he not the second highest paid guy in the league? By the way, you got to remember something about Mahomes. He has the highest payout of any contract next to Deshaun Watson. Okay? Hey, Bart, appreciate it. I know two words that make you mad. Notre Dame. Not really anymore. Who are they? Yeah. Get this. Sue goes, who cares? Sue thinks that NFL players play football like they did when they were in junior Pop Warner League football. And that Sue disrespects athletes because we're paid professionals too, dude. Hey, Sue, like every other corporate executive who wants to get a pay raise, they care. Every person in America cares what they get paid. I mean, end of the day, when she says that, that's a fan talking. That's a fan. That's not how a player thinks. A.J. Brown doesn't think. So let me ask you this. You think A.J. Brown would rather have $36 million a year or a Super Bowl title? What do you think? Ask yourself, what would you rather have in the bank? That's like the Cooper DeJean conversation. Well, he'll do it for the team. Are you talking to 4-year-olds? You act like you're talking to 4-year-olds. Ask yourself that. AJ wants money? I think players want both. They want to be in a winning environment, and they want to get paid. I don't have a problem with a guy getting like look at Milton Williams. Milton Williams is not going to a good situation when it comes to winning. He took the $26 million. I don't fault the guy. Not at all. Josh Sweat taking the money, albeit Josh Sweat doesn't know he's still a Eagle or not. You see him in that McLaren? He gets out of his McLaren. He's going to put gas in it. Someone goes, what team he played for? He goes, the Eagles. Well, the last I checked, I thought he was a Cardinal. But, hey, I've got that on my X account. You got to see it. It's hilarious. He pulls up with one of the dopest McLarens you'll ever see in your life. Okay? That is not a cheap car. Kid asked him a question. Hey, what NFL team do you play for? He goes, the Eagles. I'm like, I don't know, man. Must have missed it. I didn't realize he was still a Philadelphia Eagle. You got to see that clip. It's hilarious. He didn't want to admit he's a Cardinal. I don't blame him. Okay, I don't blame him. He's a big car guy. I like cars too. But I mean, hey, you're a Cardinal now. I mean, you should be at least taking some respect in the fact that you're a Cardinal and they're paying you $20 million. I don't know. That's just me. But here's a great example of what I say to you. All the time, you guys are telling me, Jalen Hurts, okay, this and that. Well, get this. Where's Jalen's new contract extension? When are they going to redo his contract? When are they going to reward him? Shit, they haven't even come out publicly and tooted their horn on the Nick Sirianni deal. What does that tell you? He's not going to be the highest paid coach in the league. Or they'd be parading around. Now, they may do that draft night on Thursday. Mention the extensions of Howie Roseman, the GM, and Nick. They may want to make news because I'm going to tell you what I think teams are going to do in front of the Eagles. I don't know player-wise, but I'm going to talk about staying pat, moving up, or moving down. Okay? By the way, like I said, here's the facts. You're not paid for winning Super Bowls. Okay? You're not paid for winning Super Bowls. You are paid for your talent. Plain and simple. The salaries prove this, not your stupid opinion. You can have an opinion. Money talks more than your stupid opinion does. Here. Once again, for people who don't get it and don't want to hear it, Prescott hasn't even been to an NFC championship game. Highest paid player in the league. How's that possible? That guy makes $10 million more than Jalen annually? Okay. Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen makes $7 million more than Jalen Hurts annually. Shit, Tagovailoa makes $5 million more. Jared Goff makes $4 million more. Herbert makes $3 million more. Lamar makes $2 million more. What are those guys paid on? What are those guys paid on? Winning? No. How good they are as players. Okay, get this. Oh, that's a good take. They're all stupid. Okay. No. NFL scouts and NFL teams look at those guys' skill sets and they pay the player on how good the player is individually. You don't get paid on your record. Well, look at the intangibles. Let's think, Xander, those things should not be dismissed. But take a look at how they pay these guys. They pay them on their ability, not on their record. Record's a team thing. Jalen Hurts was responsible for that Super Bowl win. Saquon Barkley was the reason they won it. I mean, that's a fact. He was the MVP of the team a year ago, not the quarterback. By far, too. That wasn't even close. Because would we not agree if you were going to put an MVP for the 2004 Philadelphia Eagles season, would it not go this? Barkley, Bond, Carter, Hurts. Would that be fair? If you were going to vote one more time, or if you were going to vote on the Philadelphia MVP, I'll ask you, Barkley, Bond, Carter, Jalen Hurts. No? Wouldn't that be right? See, Cooper DeJean could be fifth. How would you put it in order? Saquon Barkley, as all of you said, okay, I wouldn't put AJ ahead of Jalen last year. Okay? I wouldn't do that. That's not how I would put that. I think Jalen had probably a better year than AJ because he was instrumental in the run game. Not saying AJ wasn't. You tell me, how would you put them in order if you were voting MVP? Once again, I'm asking you. Right? Barkley? Vaughn? So, Barb, you think where's Barb? So, Barb, you think that Jalen had a better year than Barkley? Really? Where? Barkley, Bond, Carter, Jalen Hurts. He was the fourth best guy last year on your football team, was he not? Great Super Bowl. Absolutely great. Was he not the fourth best player on your team a year ago? Your quarterback. I can promise you in Buffalo, the guy in Buffalo was not the fourth best player on his team. Or the guy in Cincinnati was not the fourth best guy on his team. Okay? So wait a minute. Scott, you think that Jalen Hurts had a better year than Zach Bond? The number one ranked defense in the National Football League. First team All-Pro. He had a better year than 2903. I'm not asking about one game. Who had a better year? Who had the better year? Look at this. Nobody wants to put it out there. You don't want to admit it. Barkley, Bond, Carter. Jalen Carter had a better year than Jalen Hurts did a year ago, did he not? Or are you going to deny that? My God. Linebacker in the fourth? We'll hit on that, Kimbo. Bond for sure. By the way, you were on a Super Bowl team. A lot of guys had great years. Lane had a spectacular year. Lane was great. He was fantastic a year ago. Okay? Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that. Hey. Oh, wait. Okay. Eagle fan. If you were to name the MVP of the Philadelphia Eagles a year ago on the Super Bowl championship team, what would be the top four guys that you would name that had great years? I got you too, brother. I got you, Scott. Thank you, brother. All good. Guys, please hit the like button. Supers all go to the top. Eagle fan. Who had the best years a year ago? Shit, Cooper DeJean had a great year. I got Barkley, Bond, Carter, and Hurts. Shit, I got Jalen Hurts fourth. Eagle fan. You here. So, wait a minute. You think Jalen Hurts had a better year than Jalen Carter? Last year, he had a better season than Jalen Carter. That's idiotic. That's idiotic. All right. Since we're not going to get the truth, let me write this down over here. Eagle fans can't tell the truth on the first page again this week. First page this Friday. All right. Let's move on. I knew that would be a tough one for you guys. All good. Hit the like button, guys. We are, again, 6 days out from the NFL draft. What I'm going to do now in this exercise, I'm going to sit here and give you a little bit of some cliff notes on what I think each and every single team, 31, is going to do in front of the Philadelphia Eagles. Why is this important? If you don't have a guess on what teams are going to do in front of you, you're not going to have an idea of the direction that you need to go at 32. Okay? As of right now, what do you think the leading move is for the Eagles? Before I get to this little exercise that I put together, what do you think? They stand pat? Let me see what I wrote down here. Wrote it down. You think they stand pat? Make the pick? Move up? Or move out? What do you think? Trade up. Okay? Write this down. Sileo believes his opinion is fact, like Johnny Mack. I have no idea what he's talking about. Fact? My opinion? That's why it's called opinion, Bob. And Bob, paychecks are not opinions. They're facts. Okay, Bob? They're facts. A paycheck, would you not agree, Bob, is a fucking fact. Not an opinion on how you're paid. How is that an opinion? When the numbers are there for you on paychecks every Tuesday in direct deposits. How's that? How is that an opinion? Explain to me, Bob, how a paycheck is an opinion on how you're paid in the league when you pay somebody more than the next guy. How's that an opinion, Bob? I'll wait. Okay. Bob's trying to tell you that somebody's paycheck's an opinion on salaries and how they pay guys. He says that's just my take. Yes, a paycheck is fact. The fact is that Jet 8, not with that, I'm understanding that, Bob. Let me move on. Okay. If you don't know what teams are going to do in front of you, you're going to have no idea. Okay? No idea what the Eagles are going to do at 32. So let's start this exercise. And I'm going to show you something here. We're going to write this down here. We're going to stay, up, down, stand pat, trade up, trade down. So let's do this exercise here. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. Guys, absolutely awesome. By the way, I don't have an absolute problem at all with Bob. Bob's a great guy here on the program. He gives a lot to us, and he's a really well-informed sports fan. So we're good, Bob. Don't want you to go there, man, because you're one of the few guys. We're all good. We'll always be all good, Bob. All right. So let's start this exercise. And I think we're going to get a sense of where the Eagles are going to do after we do this exercise. You got to remember something, too. Don't put a name in there. All good, Bob. Me and your boys, dog. Absolutely, man. I value Bob. Bob's got great takes. 99.9% of those things are great. Hey, Bob, don't worry about my emotions sometimes. They're all good. Okay. So let's go here. Tennessee Titans. What do you think they do? Do they stay pat? Trade out? Can't trade up, obviously. Now, here's the deal with them. I think they're 100% sold on Cam Ward. So they're not going anywhere. And they're in desperate need of a quarterback. Okay? I do not believe it's Shador. Okay, I mean, they need a guy in that position for them to be successful. They don't have anybody in the building, really. The coach didn't like Will Levis a year ago. I agree. I think that Cam Ward's a lock to be the first overall selection. Now we start getting interesting. The Browns. What do the Browns do? Now, they've got the 33rd pick. They've got the first pick in the second round. You hear what I said? Keep an eye out for the Eagles to make a move with the Browns. They got more holes to fill. Eagles move down one spot, get out of that 32, go to 33. The Browns sit at number 32 right now. And for the record, this is the first time, and I mentioned this again yesterday to you. This is the first time since 1967 that on April 18th, as of right now, every NFL team has their first round pick heading into this draft. Okay? So, all right. I think they're sitting there. Could they take a quarterback? Maybe. I think it's a toss-up between Hunter or Carter on what they do there. I don't know, but I'm saying they stay pat because I think the first two picks in the draft, actually, could we not say this? What do you think is a more valuable pick? The first pick in the draft with the Titans or the Browns' second pick? I think it's the Browns' second pick. Why? The Titans are slam dunked unless at that quarterback with Cam Ward. Cam Ward's about the 15th best prospect in the draft. And they're going to take the 15th best guy in the draft. The Browns get a shot at the one or two best players in the draft. The Browns have a better chance of success than the Titans do, don't you think? It's Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. That Browns pick, to me, is a more valuable pick because the Titans are going to blow it on Cam Ward by taking a guy who's not the value of the first pick in the draft. That's right, Bob. Options are two. You got two great players. You could trade that pick for potential. You could trade that pick, move down in this draft, get another first round next year. Because somebody would get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. I mean, that Browns pick is huge. Titans aren't trading it. It's a lock. Okay? So that Browns pick, I think they're staying pat at number 2. I don't know who they take. But again, this is not about player names. This is about trying to figure out how he's going to do. Okay? So look, like I said, stay, down, or up. So we got 2 teams. First 2 teams in the draft are staying put. Okay? You guys can guess all you want. Carter or Hunter? Sure. Okay. That's not what we're doing here. The New York Giants. Okay. The Giants need an offensive lineman. And the quarterbacks in this draft, there's no way that the New York Giants take Shedeur Sanders at 3. There is no way. I know for a fact that they don't value him as the 3rd best player in this draft and a top 5 guy. They need a guy in this draft that's in the O-line. If they want to compete with the Philadelphia Eagles, what helps them more? A quarterback or an O-lineman? Ask yourself. Or either of Hunter or Abdul Carter. Right? Shedeur will be key if the Eagles trade up or down. Once Shedeur is picked, there'll be a marathon of quarterbacks taken in a row. Make them scarce. Hey, I like it, Leon. So here's what I say. I'm going to make a prediction here. Again, this is what I'm thinking. Is Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter? Is that going to make the Giants better? What's more of a need? I think it's O-line. Travis Hunter's nice. Abdul Carter's nice. But if I have to compete in the NFC East, I need O-linemen, man. They need O-line. If I'm the Giants, I'm trading down. I got the Giants trading out of that pick to get multiple 1s and 2s to make the roster better. You got a chance now to use either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter to get multiple holes filled on your team, especially in the O-line. Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter aren't going to turn your fortunes around if you're Joe Schoen or Brian Dable. Multiple picks and fixing your O-line, fixing your secondary, fixing another tight end. I mean, Shedeur Sanders doesn't do shit for you at that pick. He's not that good. Hunter will help. But if you draft Travis Hunter, you're still a 5-win team. You need to get multiple picks. Do you not agree? Bob, do you not agree that the Giants need multiple holes filled? You're right with this, Bob. Giants GM and head coach need a splash to save their job. They stay and take Hunter, which is a bad move in my opinion. That's a bad move. Get this. Here's what Bob is telling you. If they take Travis Hunter, number 3, they'll be fired at the end of the year. And they'll never see what Travis Hunter would have done for their team. They'll get fired. Bob, do you agree? Because they'll be a 5-6-win team. You could trade that pick and maybe get 2 1s this year. Trading down, yeah, I do think I think you'd get trade down. And if you want to get the 3rd pick in the draft, well, that's Bob, unless you don't think the draft is really that good. Shedeur Sanders, I'm saying the Giants trade down. That's the smart move. But they're probably going to do what Bob said. They're going to make a splash. Brian Dable and Joe Schoen will be fired at the end of the year. That's why they're dumb and the Eagles are smart. It's a stupid move. You know why the Eagles can move up? Because they're good. You know why the Giants can't stay pat? Because they're bad. This is not that hard. Patriots. Listen, I'm going to make this point. If Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter is still there, the Pats are going to stay and they're going to take Hunter. Okay? But if one of those players in the Giants do what Bob says are not there, I think the Patriots move out of that pick. And I think they trade down. If Hunter's there, they'll stay. Okay? But I agree with Bob. The Giants will make a mistake. Take the kid, and the GM and head coach will be fired at the end of the year. Okay? I think the Patriots move down for multiple picks. How much money have they spent in free agency? $300 million? Is that right? How much money has the Patriots spent so far in free agency? With contracts totaling $300 million? $400 million? Why would you stay there at 4 when you want to get more holes filled? Sitting there at 4? I think the New England Patriots, I think they trade down. Jaguars. This is an interesting one here for me. The Jags. They already have 10 picks. They got a bunch of picks in this draft. There's 10. They got a brand new general manager in James Gladstone. And his number one comment to Leah Cohen when he got the job is that they're going to retool the roster. Their number one priority is to retool the roster. Means what? That means, in my opinion, trading down. You could probably still, again, get one of those top tight ends down lower in the draft. If you trade down, Tyler Warren will be there, depending how, again, I'm not talking about trading down a ton, but they're going to get a tight end. They just let loose of one. And they've got to build that football team around Trevor Lawrence. They may go and a defensive guy, okay, one of the top dudes in the draft defensively. I think they're the number one thing that Gladstone, the new GM, said, we got to retool this roster. It's just not good enough. I got the Jags trading down. So far, 2 teams staying pat. Titans and Browns, and the rest of them, I got 3 trading down. I got the Raiders at 6. I would say this. Again, I don't know. We're not talking really players here. I mean, there's no question. You got to think of the coach that's there, Pete Carroll. Okay, Pete Carroll went and got Geno Smith. Why did he get Geno Smith? Because he was comfortable with how he won games for him in Seattle. He is a micro fit right now for the Raiders. He's not a macro fit because that's not the future. But right now, for Pete to get the Raiders winning, he won games, right? And felt comfortable the way Geno Smith went about his business. Am I right? That's how we went about it, right? Okay. Remember this. That's right. I see somebody in here talking defense. There's no doubt they're looking for a guy who can come in right now and play. Who's on the board that represents things that Pete did in Seattle? Who's the one guy that's in the draft right now that represents what Pete did in Seattle? Is there one guy? He's sitting at 6 right now. Who's the one guy in this draft correct? He's the one guy that reminds them of Marshawn Lynch. Get the best back in the game or in the draft. Kind of have that attitude. Run the ball, play defense, efficient on quarterback. You're kind of duplicating what you did up in Seattle, aren't you not? Right? Very good, Rich. It's Ashton Genty. And then there's really the rest. By the way, what I've done today is also I've ranked the top 3 players at every position heading into next week's draft. And I put them in order, top 3. We're going to do that as well today. A lot of work we did last night going over this. So I say the Raiders at 6 stay. They don't move out of that pick. The Jets are up next at 7. What do? Now, you'll love what I wrote down here. Bob, you guys will like it. I wrote down that the Jets are too stupid to do anything right and do the right thing by moving down. So I've got the stupid Jets. I got the stupid Jets standing pat because they don't know any better. They've never mastered the draft. They've never mastered free agency. They've never mastered hiring of a coach. Why would they get this right? I mean, get this, what the Jets need. The Jets need a foundational block in quarterback. They need one in the O-line. I mean, there are so many needs that the Jets have. The right pick is to take, in my opinion, an offensive tackle, an offensive lineman. Okay, just take an O-lineman. You're not going to be wrong. The player may fail. Okay, but you did the right. Listen, if you do the right thing, which, and I'm going to agree with Brad Holmes on this. If you're chasing needs in a draft, you're going to get screwed in the draft. Don't chase needs. If that player that you have at your respective spot is not going to help your team win today and in the future, what's the point of staying there? If you've got an offensive tackle, the greatest offensive tackle that was ever graded in the draft, would you not draft him? I would. Why? That's a foundation piece that the Eagles, that's what they value. That's who the Eagles are. The Eagles are an offensive line machine. They developed more Hall of Famers and All-Pros in the last 25 years than any franchise I've ever seen. And that includes the Steelers and the 49ers. Again, I'm not naming names here. So I got the Jets staying pat. Panthers are next at 8. I could see the Panthers moving up to get Hunter or Abdul Carter. because of what they did with Brian Burns last year. Got rid of him, to want to pay the $25 million to get a kid like this, especially if Abdul Carter's there at 3. You could see Carolina jump up there to 3 to grab that kid. That would not shock me. Okay? Again, this guy's a dumbass again. I haven't given you any names. Where are you hearing names? Where in the world are you hearing names? I have not named one fucking guy that somebody would take. I think it's Genty because that's what Carroll does. I'm going by people's actions. I'm sick of talking to this guy. King of the Owls. I forgot. We're getting ready to launch the new show on JAKIB. The Dimwits, starring M. Reyes. The Dimwits. I've got the Panthers trading down. Again, I'll do it slow for people like Dim Reyes. That's his new name. I'll do it for him. No names are being mentioned as takes. How would I know? I'm not a fortune teller. Is that good for you, kid? Is that okay? It's like you're talking like it's hey, M. Reyes over here. What a stunad. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On 9. We're at Saints. I think the Saints are going to stand pat here. How in love do you think the Saints are with Shedeur Sanders to make him a top 10 pick? I'm with Jay Gruden. I see a third-round talent. There is nothing I have seen in his game that makes me think he's an elite player at that position. There's nothing in Cam Ward's game that makes me say that. So if he's the second best quarterback in the draft, we got third round, fourth round guys going in the first round. This is a shit draft. I mean, I don't know if we're talking about Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. You know what the big thing on Jalen Milroe is? Somebody told me he's faster than Lamar Jackson. And I was like, what does that have to do with playing quarterback? That has nothing to do with it. M. Reyes. It's the balls. Absolutely true. As you do too, Leon. Leon. A show for the faint of hearts. And people who fire back at Sills, those are the folks that get to stay. People like AJ or whatever that guy's name is, they get ignored. Like time is too precious. So you can write into your little heart's content. You could write a soliloquy if you want, like AJ does all day. He could write a soliloquy. He could write the next coming of the Beatitudes, and I wouldn't read them because I don't care. My time is more important. And Reyes gets my time. Pat gets my time. Leon gets my time. Brian. Jeez. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. Hey, sure. What do you care? He's from Canada. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Have Trump deport his ass. 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. I think the Saints stand pat with their pick. Okay? I do. They got 9 picks in this draft, too. And Kellen's going to need each and every single one of them. So I think Jags draft a cornerback or DT. They need defensive help. That sounds right. Okay? That sounds right. I'm not talking players here. I'm talking about strategy. Do you understand? Howie talked in that press conference strategy. Did he not to you? Did you guys not hear it? Hello. He was talking strategy. Whether or not the Jags need O-line, they can go down in the draft and get the guy. They're all graded the same. Get more picks. Get more quality picks. Shit, get picks next year. You understand what we're doing here? We're not talking about grabbing a player. We're talking about strategy. Didn't Howie say how the board falls? Folks, this is not about who they're taking. Unlike everyone else doing these mock drafts, I'm not picking a player. I'll have my last one next Wednesday. What we're doing now is strategy on what Howie's going to see in front of him for him to decide what he wants to do. I hope you're following me on this. Okay? This may be a little too complicated. Bears are at 10. This is like the second year and 3 years that the Bears are sitting in the top 10. That tells you a little bit about their organization, does it not? Right? I mean, this is the second time they're in the top 10. The Bears. I think the Bears are going to trade up. I think they're going to be a team that's going to trade up. And I think there's going to be a fight between the Raiders and the Bears for Ashton Genty. That Ben Johnson guy wants to get the same kind of setup that he had in Detroit with dual backs. Okay? And I think he wants that setup because he enjoyed that Montgomery and Gibbs setup that he had. Okay? Because that was a real focal point in what kept it. I'll tell you this too. You know what really kept that offense going? When Montgomery went down, Gibbs still carried the mail for them. And you didn't really get but they had two backs trending towards 1,000 yards. That, to me, is something that they would look at because, again, what's more important to you, getting a tight end or getting a guy running the ball? Didn't the Eagles show you? The tight end was a non-factor. What did Xander say yesterday about, what do you have, 500 yards and receiving yards? One game he had 170. He was a non-factor the entire season. On the Philadelphia Eagles' success was Dallas Goedert. He was no factor. I mean, he was like he didn't even play last year, Dallas Goedert. That's why the Eagles are moving off him. It's $15 million. He's hurt all the time, and he was a non-factor. Sills, he had a really good postseason. I'll get another guy. Play 4 games like that. We're going to win football games running the ball, throwing to the numbers. Plain and simple. We're going to run RPOs, and that's how we're going to win. We're not going to fool anybody. The Eagles didn't fool one soul last year. They don't run a complex offense. That's not who they are. They run you over. Get this. And they tell you who they're running over. Tight end is an expendable asset. Okay? That says I'm undervaluing Goddard's blocking. No, I'm not. And nor are the Eagles. That's why they got Harrison Bryant. They're going to get a blocking tight end, and they don't give a shit about his hands. You're missing the point. The guys they brought in are guys that are going to block, not catch. Calcaterra will catch on first and second down or on third down. First and second down, Harrison Bryant starting. You think they're drafting a tight end in the first, second, or third round, you're a high. Not a chance. Not with what they haven't brought in. They're not even looking at tight end. And in the way that they operate, now again, I think it's different at 32. Fourth round, go get Mason Taylor. Sure. Or the kid from Miami, Arroyo. Go get him. Fourth round, No problem. First 3 rounds? No way. I think the Bears trade up. Okay? That's the first team, the Bears, to trade up in the draft. I got them trading up. That's my first team. Yeah. That's my first team. Trading up in the top 10. Eagles have 1117 draft value points combined with all their picks. Miami pick at 13 is 1150 points alone. By the way, you watching WrestleMania this weekend? How you doing? Of course, Hollywood. Who misses WrestleMania 41? Nobody. So 49ers are at 11. They got like 11 picks, 10 or 11 picks in this draft. They have the assets to move up. They can move up. Okay? They can. They have 11 picks, I think. Somebody check that for me. Kyle, see how many picks the 49ers. I thought it was 10 or it might be 11 picks. And here's the big thing. They're going to go heavy in the draft. Why? Look at all the money they got rid of. Look at all the money they're continuing. They got rid of Hargrave. They got rid of they got rid of Javon Hargrave. They got rid of Deebo Samuel. They're getting rid of, and they got rid of Hufanga. They've cut a lot of guys off that roster because of money. Okay? So they're still in cost cutting. How do you compensate and how do you make up for those guys? You draft. Get them on rookie deals. So, again, I think the 49ers are going to stand pat. Again, what we're trying to figure out is the board in front of Howie. The Cowboys are at 12. I think the Cowboys are going to move up. Cowboys need a wideout. How high would they go? Would they entertain moving into the top 2 spots to get up there to get Travis Hunter? Make a splash, a Jerry Jones splash. Would they go up that high? Okay. I mean, this is Jerry Jones. He said that he's somewhat retiring after this 2025 season. Okay. Now, if they're not going to move up, I probably think they're going to stay where they are at 12. I think they want the 2 guys in the draft, which would help them a lot, would be Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty. Those would be the 2 guys. I don't think those 2 guys are going to be around at 12. So I got a feeling the Cowboys are going to move up to get one of those guys. Travis Hunter may be too rich for the blood, but Genty will be around that Seattle or that Raider number. He'll be around there. So 12 to 6. I mean, I think the Jags, they can move in front of the Jaguars at 5. That's for Genty. Hunter will be long gone. Could they move up to 4 to get the Patriots so they can get potentially Hunter? I think the Giants are going to trade down, but I don't believe the Giants would trade with the Cowboys. I don't know. I mean, I think those days of being afraid to trade in your division, okay, I think those days are gone. So I got the Cowboys trading up. the Colts. I got them staying pat at 14. Oh, let me do the Dolphins first. What do I got them doing? Dolphins are at 13. They need O-line help desperately. It was a shit show last year in that offensive line. And the kid from LSU, the kid from Missouri will be long gone by the time the Dolphins are picking at 13. I mean, they're probably going to get a defender sitting at that spot. And they could get one of the edge rushing guys sitting there at 13. Colts, I got them staying pat. Here's something to think about. Okay, they need linebacker help. They got a quarterback competition between Dimes Jones and Anthony Richardson, who's been a colossal failure. That I think Shane. We'll talk a little bit about Shane Steichen later, but they need a pass rush. They need a guy to make an impact in this draft, sitting at 14 to keep Shane Steichen's gig. At 15, are these making sense to you guys? What we're doing here? We're going to get down to 32 here in a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you our assessment of how he's going. Okay? This is going to help. This is going to be a tool for you because you're finding out what teams are going to do. As of right now, in the first, here, just to give you right now, in the first 14 picks, I got 7 teams staying pat. I got 4 teams right now moving down and 1 team moving up. This is going to help Howie with more talent down at the bottom of the draft. Falcons. I think the Falcons trade down. They only have 5 picks. The Falcons have 5 picks in this draft. 5. How do you acquire more? You need multiple first. You're not going to get multiple first rounders sitting at 15. So you can count that out. You need multiple 3s, potentially 2s. You got 5 picks and a shit ton of holes on your team. And you got Michael Penix. What's that mean? You got to start building something around the kid. How are you building anything with 5 picks? Falcons have no equity in this draft. They have to create it. They have to create the equity in this draft. Trade down. That just totally makes sense. Cardinals. I like Austin Fort. I do. Money Austin Fort, their general manager. I think he's a pretty smart kid. He's like a junior Howie. He likes to take a look at each and every single draft pick. He talks to all the general managers. He does all that Howie Roseman bullshit. He'll call about any player, every player. He'll call about the most elite players in the game just to find a sense of what market value is. Okay? He'll do all that. He tries to do all the things, and he tries to mimic what Howie does. This kid in Arizona. I like that, okay? They need a tad bit more equity in the draft. They got 6 picks. They've done a pretty good job drafting over the last couple of years. They just got to figure out if Kyler Murray's their guy. And if that's me, I'm looking for one of the top defensive football players in this draft to help my defense and help Jonathan Gannon out. Okay? That's what I'm looking at if I'm the Arizona Cardinals. I want to improve my defense here. And to me, trading down is the call here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 trade downs I got so far. 7 staying pat, 1 up. I only got the Bears moving up so far. The Bengals, they need defensive help in so many ways, man. I mean, how do you not look at defense here in this draft for this Bengals team? Duke Tobin's a pretty good evaluator of talent. I mean, you could see them possibly moving around in the second or third day of the draft. They're probably going to hold tight. Don't be shocked if they grab the kid from Penn State here at the 17th pick if he's still there. They're not going to be very creative. Why? Because the owner doesn't like to spend money. So I think they stay pat where they are. 18 Seahawks. Potential move for the Eagles here. They got 10 picks. So they got equity in this draft. Again, you know what's funny? This draft, teams have equity and built up their treasure chest of draft picks for guys who don't value and have a value of those picks, which makes it even harder to pick. You saved up all these years to get these 10 picks if you're Seattle, and you look at the board and go, shit, there ain't 10 guys in this draft. You think there's 10 guys in this draft that Seattle would draft to add to their roster? Ask yourself this. How many picks do the Eagles have this year? How many picks? Let me prove a point to you. How many picks did the Philadelphia Eagles have this year in the draft? By the way, Xander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. How many picks there's those 4, 5, 6, what do they got, 7? Is it 7? 8. They got 8 picks. Okay? You think there's 8 players in this draft going down the line of rounds that can make this team? I don't. So if there's not 8 guys on the board for the entire 7 rounds, what are we talking about here? Do you think there's 8 guys that will come out of this draft and make the Eagles? I don't. With the free agents you signed and with the guys that you drafted, the 8 guys, you think there's 8 guys in this draft that could make this club drafting in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, or 4th, or 5th rounds? No way. No way. You think there's a 6th round player? They don't have it. You think there's a 5th round player who could make this team? I don't. I'll take the guys they have on the roster right now. No way. 6 guys on a Super Bowl championship team? Not happening. Maybe the Jets. '19 is the Buccaneers. I like the Bucs. Obviously, I keep an eye on the Bucs. But I like their organization since they got Jason Light in there running the thing. Jason Light he is really an opportunist. And he has already said there's a great opportunity. He's proclaimed it, saying, for me, this draft has moving down written all over it, sitting at 19. He said it. He publicly said it. He kind of telegraphed it. Okay? I mean, to me, they're going to go defense. We'll see. At 20, I got the Broncos. So look at how many people we got now. We got 7 moving down. We have 8 teams now that are going to stand pat. You got 7 opportunities right now for your Howie Roseman to do deals with people that can move down in the draft. Howie's going to have dance. What? Hey, Bob, tell these people what we're doing here. We're showing you how many dance partners Howie's going to have. I'll telegraph it before I'm done. It's just how many pieces of the future you want to give away at 32. You understand what I'm doing? I'm trying to figure out how many people Howie could call to make a deal with. Right? Bucks could get Starks. Absolutely. This is the fun part of the draft. Try to figure out what people do in front of you. I think the Broncos are going to stay. Okay? They need a whole shitload of skill position guys. They believe in this kid, Bo Nix. I think Bo's okay. But like the kid from Ohio State, a wide receiver, something like that, I think they're going to stay pat. Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to stay. Here's my only question I would have. Are the Steelers really going to go into the 2025 season by not addressing the quarterback position? Are you really going to go in to the NFL season? Who's their guys now? I mean, are they just going to go? Or is it Rodgers? Is that move Rodgers? Are they banking that that's Rodgers? Drew, I appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, Skylar Thompson. I mean, you signed DK Metcalf on a trade. You've got George Pickens. You let Najee Harris roll. I mean, you've got Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. That's in Pittsburgh? I don't believe that. I think they're hoping for Shador to fall to them. They may even, because I know they brought in Jalen Milroe. I mean, I think they got a team that you could put a quarterback in there and they would be really good because of the great coaching that they have. You know, the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of them ready-made teams right now. They could go in it, like Jalen Milroe could go into a situation like Jalen Hurts went into Philly. You know how we say about all the assets that they have around Jalen? Wouldn't that help Jalen Milroe? And plus, by the way, he's played with a ton of guys down at Alabama. To me, I don't think it's Jackson Dart. They had their eyes set on Jalen Hurts 4 years ago. Now they get a chance to maybe do it over again. I think that's the world of Jalen Milroe. Would I rather have Jalen Milroe or Aaron Rodgers? Ask yourself that question for Pittsburgh at 18. That's why I think they stay. Okay? Wouldn't you want to have? I mean, Aaron Rodgers or Jalen Milroe? I got to pay. You see Aaron Rodgers say he'll play for $10 million? Far cry from 50. $10 million versus Jalen Milroe, and if the kid sucks, I can fire him in 2 years. Shit, I could get out of that in a year and a half. That's the cool thing about these draft picks nowadays. You don't have to stay on these first-round draft choices because you gave so much signing bonus money. Albeit the contracts are guaranteed. But to me, I'd rather look at the future. I mean, I'd rather have Jalen Milroe right now because it's economically feasible for me. I don't think I'd sign Aaron Rodgers. I would sign Jalen Milroe. Oh, the kid's not great. Well, who's to say a 42-year-old quarterback's going to be great? I don't know, man. So I think the Steelers are going to stay there. At 20. 21. Okay, 22, excuse me. The LA Chargers. The Chargers need a wideout. And there were reports that they had a contract on the table for DK Metcalf. And he had all but getting ready to sign it. The Steelers parachuted in, gave him $5 million more. And that kind of blew that whole thing up. And there's not a lot of wide receivers in this draft. In my opinion, I think the Chargers move up. There's your second team. I got Bears and Chargers moving up. Green Bay's at 23. I can continually see them building that defense up. Why? Eagles. You got to stop that Eagle run attack. If I'm in the NFC, what am I doing? Am I fearing the Eagle passing game? Absolutely not. I have no fear of that thing. I've got to stop the Eagle running game. Corners? Well, I don't think so. I don't need great corners against Eagles. I can't have them beat me up like that. Remember something, like I said, Eagles are made for playoff football for sure. They're not really made as a conventional offense for week-to-week NFL football. They're one-dimensional, and they're great at that one dimension, which is running it. They have no versatility in their offense whatsoever. Facts are week-to-week. Prove it, especially after the bye. Now, again, it's not a rip. You won a Super Bowl with that mentality. You could not like what I'm saying. Who cares? You won a Super Bowl. If I'm the Green Bay Packers, I got to get linebackers in there. I got to get defensive guys in there. Okay? And once again, this guy misses the fucking point once again. I'm talking about getting to the Super Bowl, kid. Your offense was one-dimensional. Facts. Okay? Facts. We pulled it out when we want. That's not the facts. That's not, because you know why that's not a reality? Your paychecks to the players that you paid to want to have a balanced offense didn't predicate your outcome a year ago. That's not the facts. The team was not built for that. The team evolved into that. Okay? So wait a minute. You think the 30th ranked passing attack in a 17-game NFL season, in the second best, arguably the best running attack in all of football, is balanced? Okay, guy. Go back and play with your Jalen Hurts doll in your bed. That'll help you out a little bit. Okay. Again, this is about the Packers picking at 23. They need to stop that running game. Okay? So, do you believe, Sue, you had a balanced attack last year during the regular season of the NFL? I'm talking about opposing teams, not the Eagles. It's not an indictment on the Eagles. They did what they did well. Stu's just kicking up her red-bottom shoes. All right. Number 24, Minnesota Vikings. Another team, trade down. Another team. Minnesota only has 4 picks. This is why they were prominent in free agency. Okay? That's not okay. That's not how you pay players. That's not, and by the way, that's not how the salary. Bro, you have not downgraded at any position on offense in 3 years. You're about to at tight end. and you paid premium, you're paying premium dollars for tight end, wide receiver, and quarterback. And your passing game stunk. I don't know about you. Again, we won a Super Bowl. I know. I'm talking about other teams. You're right. The Eagles are probably very happy with their passing game. Again, it's not about the Eagles. It's about the teams playing the Eagles. Stop crying. Wipe your tears. It's okay, babies. Come on now. Come on now. It's okay. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. All right. Oh, boy. Minnesota. I got Minnesota trading down. Texans sitting there at number 25. Okay? What do the Texans do at 20? This could be another dance partner sitting here for the Eagles to make a trade up and try to get one of their guys. I've got the Texans trading up in this draft here, okay? I think they're in a good position. I think they're in a good position to either go up or down. To me, I think they need to still get more assets around CJ Stroud. To me, I think that's more about moving up to try to get that kid. If I were the Texans, I would do everything in my power to try to move up to get that kid Kelvin Banks from Texas and try to get me an offensive lineman. That's where I would probably go. So that's my third team to potentially move up there, okay? All right. Number 26. One of my favorite football teams in all of the NFL, this is the Rams. They do it right. They do it right as well as the Eagles do it. And I like how they operate. Les Snead, Kevin Demoff, they're absolutely sensational guys. I've got the Rams here. Look, they're now in the back end of the draft here. These people are very smart in what they do. Once you get down around 25, you are in total trade down area in this draft, especially in this draft here. So I got the Rams trading down, and I think they're very good at evaluating a talent. They had the best draft class of any team in the NFL a year ago, not by a lot over the Eagles, but they had the best rookie class of any team in the NFL a year ago. Les Snead does a great job, and arguably one of the top 3 general managers in all the game. He's got a Super Bowl to his name too, and I think he does a great job. I got him trading down. You got the Lions there, sitting there at number 28. This is a team that can move up. Now, you got to remember what they got to think about doing with Smith and what they're going to do with Smith. Are they going to re-sign him? Okay. Are they going to re-sign him? Are they going to look for an edge rusher here? Is there somebody in the draft that they really love? I think the Lions are going to stand pat. Okay. You got the Commanders now at number 29. I think they're going to stay put here. See what the board looks like as it comes down to them. Best pass rusher available. They need an edge rusher. They addressed the O-line, wide receiver. I still think they need more help at both of those positions. I think they could trade, and I think they're going to trade down in this draft, the Commanders, because I think they're going to get more assets and want more assets to keep adding depth to the football team and start going second and third round. Because I do believe, again, they look at this draft like I do. Can I tell you something here? I wrote this down. Where do you guys think the value in the draft is? Where do you think the value is in this draft? That's not awful, Bob. Where's the value in this draft? You guys get it. To me, you guys are right. It's late and mid rounds. This is a late first round, mid round draft. My 3 months and last year looking at this draft, I've spent 8 months on this draft because I evaluate college football every day. Every weekend, I evaluate college football. While you guys never hear some of these guys or some of these teams, I evaluate it every weekend. So after 8 months, the value in this draft is in the mid rounds and in the late part of the first round. That's where the value is. The value is not at the top of the board. They're all overrated. Top 15 picks outside of 2 are overrated. Am I wrong? You guys even said it yourselves. 3rd, 5th. Those are mid rounds. First round is late. Why? I could trade for. Get this. What's more important? Ask yourself this. Let me finish this up here. Okay, because I'm at Washington. Bills. I think the Bills trade up. They need assets because why? They're in salary cap hell. They have to trade up. And here's a football team that could have got Xavier Worthy a year ago. Somebody like that at the bottom end of the draft, and they couldn't get him even. They have 10 picks. Move up. It's another thing. I think the Bills move up. I think the Chiefs move up. Chiefs need assets, man. They need O-linemen, D-linemen. They need another tight end to take the place for Travis Kelce. And then we leave it to the Eagles. We'll do the Eagles here in a second. So, this is what we've come up with. 5, 10. There's going to be as many as 12 picks. 12 picks, okay? 12 picks in this, or 12 teams in this draft that you could sit there and you can have a trade partner with if you were Howie Roseman. 12 teams. And you've got only, my estimation, you've got 5 teams that are going to trade up. So with Howie in the board, what does that tell you? What would you do if you were Howie with potentially 12 football teams that want to trade down with you? What would you do if you're Howie? 12 teams. What would you do? Is there a guy on that board that makes you want to go get someone? Is there somebody there? Personally, if I can move up, how much do I have to give away of this? If I gave away this draft, do I care? No. I'm pretty comfortable with the guys I have in the building. Or, I mean, this is a mid-round draft. You're going to get your players. Stop thinking first round. The Eagles are going to build their football team in this draft from 2 to 4. How many All-Pros have the Eagles drafted in the last 3 years that were second rounders? Hurts, Landon Dickerson, and who else? Cam Jurgens. Am I right? 3 years in a row, the Eagles have drafted in the second round Pro Bowlers. Have they not? Right? So with an equity like that, what do you think? What would you do with 12 dance partners? Not a very strong draft. You're pretty good with what you got. What would you do in the draft? And you got only 5 teams wanting to move up. Do you want to be the 6th? There's not a lot of teams that are going to move up in this draft. Why are they not doing that? Well, because there's not a lot of good players in this draft. The value's in rounds 2 to 4. Why would I move up when I could build my football teams with rounds 2, 3, and 4 and get really good players and players I don't have to spend a killing on, especially if I'm watching my economic dollar? My opinion, I'm trading out of that pick unless there's a guy that blows me away at 32. Why do you think there's only 5 teams that are going to trade up? There's like only 5 football teams that want to trade up in this draft, and all of them blow. Where are you going? The equity, once again, in this draft is rounds 2 to 4. That's where you're going to build teams. And if you want to expand it, the bottom of the first round and mid-round is where the strength of the draft is. You got to always put money in. You got to put value of the pick in. You've got to do all of that to be able to do that at the end of the day. You have to do that. Okay? So sitting at 32, when you guys are making that call and you want to make that call down there at 32, my opinion, it's trading out of that pick. That's where you go, trading out of that pick. All right. So I've been listening to John, and I tell you what, I think John's getting sold more on Malachi Starks. By the way, he's one of my favorite players in the draft. There's 10 guys that I like in the draft if I was sitting there. We'll do that with Xander here in a second, bud. So again, like I said, 5 teams, and you have 12 teams that I think are moving down. That's half the fucking league. Guys are doing a killer job there at Birds 365 in the morning, man. You're getting the best coverage you possibly can. We so appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Please hit that like button. And without further ado, my boy, Big Z, Xander Krauss joins us now.
What's going on, Big Sills? Good football Friday to you, and a good Friday as well in the holy season. How you doing, brother?
Absolutely. So what are you making what I'm saying here? What I did today was I did an exercise, not about players and where they'll go, but what teams more likely will do. Because the other day, did not Howie say at the press conference, we're kind of beholden to what they do in front of us. And you've got to have a strategy. See, I get my topics from Howie. People think I make topics up sometimes, and I do. But I get the majority of my topics.
You told me that brain isn't responsible for any of the great topics you come up with.
I get majority of my topics from McMullen, you, and Howie. That's where I get I'm not kidding. I do. And this is where I get I have 12 teams that are going to trade down. I got 5 teams that are going to trade up. Rest of them are going to stay pat, in my opinion. If you know that, and we're around that idea, what do you do at 32?
Go up and get your guy if they fall. If you don't go, if somebody's there for you at 26, 27, and it all depends on the Eagles board, let's be honest. I mean, if they don't have guys on their board, obviously they're not going to do this. But if they do evaluate one of the guys that falls, I'm going up and getting them, Sills. I mean, this is a Super Bowl window, brother. Go and get the player that's going to make the best impact on your team. And they're obviously the ones who decide who that player is. Doesn't mean they're going to be right. But if he's there, I'm going and getting him, man. I'm going and getting him. I know where I'm with you, though, is there is more value in the second round. I just think this team must get a contributor, especially on a rookie deal. So if the right guy falls, I'd go up and get him. Now, the chance of the right guy falling is pretty slim, to be honest. So once that happens, they're going to have to identify that early. Don't you agree? Because if they don't, they could pigeonhole themselves into having no trade partner to move back with.
Well, the Eagles have drafted 3 straight Pro Bowlers from the second round. in the last 3 drafts. So, I mean,
That's
what are we
impressive.
what are we talking about here? Contributor? You getting contributors and Pro Bowlers in the second round the last 3 years.
Right. Right.
I mean, Jalen Hurts was a second-round draft choice. Landon Dickerson is a second-round draft choice. Cam Jurgens is a second-round draft choice. These are all guys you didn't take in the first round. Chick, your best player last year was a rookie, might have been Cooper DeJean. He was taken in the second round.
Right.
So when we talk about the first round, is there a guy there? Shit, the Eagles are getting more from their second round than their first round. Look at you have to look at their history.
Yeah, I mean the 23 they didn't have a second round pick, but last year Cooper obviously incredible. Cam Jurgens in 22.
How about their last 3 drafts in the second round then? Or their last
the last 3 would include
the last years that they had a second round pick. Every guy they took in the second round, has he not turned out to be a Pro Bowler?
No, they all have. Yeah, they all have. I mean, including back to Jalen Hurts. And even 2019, the year before Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders. And the year before that, Dallas Goedert.
Okay, so all these guys are Pro Bowlers in the second round. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the value of the pick. They've been, would you not agree? They've been just as successful in the second round as they've been in the first round the last 4 years.
That's arguable. I mean, you got higher caliber players. You got Devontae Smith. You got Jalen Carter. Like those guys, the second rounders don't have that upside, but I don't know. Maybe you could argue that. Look at Landon Dickerson. He might be the best left guard in football. Like he's that good.
How about your quarterback?
Quarterback, obviously, second round. Yeah, you could argue second round's been better. That's a good point, Sills. Maybe you do hang tight. The other problem is, though, it all depends on the board, right? Like if you don't feel like you have these type of players in the second round, but I do think you're right because of the way we've talked about the first round. I think there will be a lot of those guys available in round 2. Maybe it is a trade back, but, is it possible that they get hamstrung and they, there's no partner to move back with or no team to move back with? If they wait too long, they're going to have to identify early, I think, if they want to move back.
See, I think the value of the draft is from 25 down, maybe 20 down to 2 to 4. That to me, I don't have to deal with the 5th year. I don't have to. And by the way, the Browns have the 33rd pick. I mean, trade with the Browns.
Yeah, then maybe they can grab their quarterback at 32.
Correct. At 1, guess what you do? Watch this. At 1, you grab Travis Hunter. You go to 32, you grab your quarterback.
Grab Milrow.
Or if you are
what's the difference though? Like what's the advantage for the Eagles to drop from 32 to 33 in that instance? Is there any at all other than it's very minimal though? It's very minimal, right?
Well, no, because you don't have to deal with the 5th year. And you don't have to deal with that option going like you did. How about this? Do you think you'd be more comfortable with Jordan Davis on the football team? Could you do more with Jordan Davis if he didn't have that 5th year option?
Well, potentially, but you would also have to.
Then you can negotiate him down to $6 million.
Yeah, but you'd have to negotiate that contract now, so you lose a year. But you're not wrong. I mean, you still have to make a decision when it's a first rounder.
Well, don't you think them delaying this decision is bad news for him?
Yeah.
Because doesn't usually Howie like to get in front of that?
Yeah. And that Tyleik Williams, the guy that they brought in, he's a true run stopper. If they draft him, Jordan's on the outs. Actually, I think the fact that they brought him in might show you already that they're thinking that Jordan Davis is going to be too much for what they want to pay him.
I think they've telegraphed a couple things this offseason. Tight end position and the defensive tackle position.
What do you see telegraphed at tight end?
Committee.
Yeah.
Just committee.
I don't think it's a good move.
Could you have won a Super Bowl last year without Dallas Goedert?
I don't know. He was your leading receiver in the postseason.
Okay, true.
Catches and yards. I'm not saying he made the offense go, but don't you think there's like a special part of Super Bowl teams where, you take away AJ, all of a sudden somebody else beats you. You take away Saquon, somebody else beats you. Like the Eagles had that at every level, whether it was depth players, whether it was tight end when you needed it, whether it was AJ Brown or Devontae when you needed it. Obviously, Devontae with a big catch in the Super Bowl. If you take away some of those elements, do you become more one-dimensional? Do you become
one-dimensional?
No, we weren't.
Yes, you were all season long.
Sills, but when we needed to not be.
No. When you got to that game, you were able to have it, but you got to that game by being one dimension.
Well, the only reason we got there is not because of what we dictated.
That wasn't you did not play at all in any way last year from the bye on multitasking.
And why is that?
Because you were last in the league in passing.
Because Saquon Barkley, nobody could stop him.
Shit. That's one-dimensional.
I know, but when you took away Saquon, they weren't one-dimensional, which would insinuate as a team they were not one-dimensional.
In one game, it was the most important game.
One-dimensional would mean if when you took away the run game, they lost the Steelers game. No, they won that game. They would have lost the Commanders game. No, they won that game. They would have lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
That offense last year on a week-to-week basis was beating teams.
I didn't say that.
No, I know.
I said the conclusive evidence in hindsight on the 2024 Eagles is they were not one-dimensional because they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl if they were one-dimensional.
They were one-dimensional all season long. I mean,
but they were.
Yeah, they were. Look at what they did week to week.
How did we win the Super Bowl?
They took the ball out of there. I'm talking about game 1 to 17. How you got there?
No, but saying they were one-dimensional,
they were.
End statement is false because that means
you
they
were
lost
1-30. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know. I don't know what other facts you need. You were 1-30, but the one dimension you had, you dominated. That's why I'm talking about the way to stop the Eagles. You got to stop Bart. Here, let's do this. If you were going to name the MVP, like I said of the team a year ago, Barkley, Bond, Carter, Hurts. Those were the 4 best players on your team, were they not?
Sills, if we were one-dimensional without a shadow of a doubt with not being more than that, we wouldn't have won the Super Bowl.
Ask anybody, including your boy, John, if they were one-dimensional.
John is not my barometer for truth. I know he should become your barometer for truth. He is not my barometer for truth.
Hey, I've never heard somebody say that, hey, they were so balanced last year.
Yeah, but Curtis, you're missing what I'm saying, dog. Curtis says, Xander, the Eagles agreed with Sills right before the Steelers game. Yeah, well, we all did, Curtis. The problem is, in the games that they did need to be non-one-dimensional, win without Saquon, they did. They won the Super Bowl. They won that Steelers game you're talking about. So if they were one-dimensional, that would insinuate they were not able to win those games without the one dimension. But the one dimension was gone, and they still won the game. So what happened?
That's not.
They won by luck?
No, they won by running the football and Barkley being the superstar
Steelers,
player. And Barkley being the superstar player that he was.
Not versus Steelers, dog.
Jalen had 2 great games last year. 2.
Ready? Eagles versus Steelers. Hey, let's go look.
Get this. 2 great games. Here, let's do this.
Woo! 27-13.
Did he play great?
Barkley, 19 carries for 65 total yards.
You're right. They were balanced. All right.
Jalen was 25 of 32 for 290 and
1 game. I asked you about game 1 to 17 to get you there. In your opinion, you think they were a balanced team last year?
No, that's not what I said.
From 1 to 17.
Take the playoffs. No, they weren't balanced. But my take is different. They didn't have to be balanced because nobody could stop Saquon Barkley, which is why he had 2,000 yards.
That's one dimension. Yes.
No. But one-dimensional is different than not being balanced. Because if you're one-dimensional, then you can't do anything else.
They were not balanced. Their numbers show you, and their
all right, we have different definitions. One-dimensional would mean you can't win.
I have the definition that everybody uses in the league.
Yo, go ask Steve. Go ask Steve. No. Go ask Steve Spagnuolo if the Philadelphia Eagles
definition of balanced offense has been intact for 100 years.
No,
not the one in Philly. Holy cow!
Yes,
you're telling me a team that from game 1 to game 17, a guy who threw 17 passes a game versus a team that ran the ball 35 times is a balanced scoring attack.
So why did they lose?
That's not my point.
Why didn't they lose?
I'm talking about balancing attack.
Hey, yo, Stevie Spags.
Hey, I'll tell you this here, man. You better not lose that boy. How about this? We'll find out if Barkley's not the guy this year.
All right, Steve Spags. Are the Eagles one-dimensional? No, Jalen Hurts absolutely lit me up in the Super Bowl. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, because Jalen Hurts had 2 wonderful games last year. 2 out of 20.
But that's all he needed to have.
That's right. Because the team carried him there.
Well, Saquon, nobody could stop Saquon, the best running back in the modern game.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. 1,000% Big Sills agrees. Big Sills agrees with that.
Look at Joe Whipp, the voice of reason, checks in. Thank you, Joe. If they were one-dimensional, they would not be able to pass. They were able to pass effectively when they had to.
Hey, that's why they changed the offense in the bye, and they made sure they took it out of the turnover machine's hands. They even said it. Guy had 17 turnovers.
Reyes ought to open a 5-star restaurant with all the cooking he does in this chat. Yeah. One dimension, the winning dimension. Whoa!
That's right,
That's
baby.
the winning dimension,
Absolutely.
baby.
I completely agree with that. The one dimension is the winning dimension, and that's why you're getting rid of your tight end because they don't need it because the quarterback doesn't need it.
I can't argue
going to
with
run
you
the
on
ball.
that. I can't argue with you on that. They're pushing tight end Goddard out the door for 13, 14 mil.
Let me ask you this. If a really great passer was on that team, do you think that Patrick Mahomes would go like this? We don't need a tight end here in Kansas City anymore. Fuck it. We'll just, we'll have Harrison Bryant. How you doing? I'll tell you what. I'd like to see Goddard up in Buffalo. That's what I'd like to see. All right.
See, Ronald, this is where ego comes in, Ronald. Ronald says, if someone can't stop it, why stop doing it? Well, you got to appease all the people who want a beauty pageant. That's it, Ronald.
Right. Wait a minute.
Curtis and Sileo want a beauty pageant. That's it. They want a beauty pageant.
Hey, Ronald, I'm curious. Why are you paying AJ and Devontae if Barkley's the star?
We got to win football games. We need a good roster.
You didn't win it throwing it. Just curious. I mean, why are you paying these guys?
Look at LJ, fatty and baldy.
Who?
Fucking LJ. All right, we are not one-dimensional. Confirm. That's a W for me. I'm taking the W.
No, that's not how it happened a year ago.
A W.
Yeah, a W.
Dude, Saquon ran for like 50 yards.
Nobody in their right mind outside of Philly would think that was a balanced offense. Nobody. Okay.
No, I didn't say balanced. They're different.
Okay. I could ask you this question here about Travis Hunter. How valuable do you think Shohei Ohtani is as a pitcher and a hitter to the Dodgers? How much of a value, if you're a GM, this came to me last night. Swear to God, Xander, I'm watching Shohei Ohtani and I go, this fucking guy throws the ball 105.
It's insane, dude.
He's 12, 13 wins a year and he steals 50 bases and he hits 50 home runs. And I'm going like this. I've never seen anything like that again. And then I started thinking of Travis Hunter going, hang on. How much of a value is that to me with Travis Hunter if I could put him in the slot as a receiver and get a corner play? How about drop him as a special teams guy too? Does that not make him more of a value? Shit, we're talking about Cooper DeJean going out and playing the numbers and going out and playing cornerback. How much of an asset is that to him if he could play nickel and corner to the Eagles and go out there and play both? Doesn't that raise his value with the Eagles? So I started thinking the same shit with Travis Hunter. Wait a minute. You know why I want to play both? Hey, man, people thought Shohei Ohtani couldn't.
Yeah, I know. But Sills and Shohei Ohtani, that guy might have been made in a laboratory. That guy, that's insane. But this is the difference, Sills. Ready? You do this all the time.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right?
Totally.
I mean, let's be real. Baseball is not a physically taxing sport like that. Now, pitching is on your arm and on your shoulder and all that. I understand that. But from a physical standpoint, are you telling me, and you played in the NFL, you know what NFL players look like and how much they bench press and how hard it is, what it feels like to get tackled. Are you telling me that dude's going to line up as a wide receiver and as a cornerback on a consistent basis in the NFL for multiple years? I don't see that at all.
Do you have to be physical at cornerback today in today's NFL?
That's a fair question. Maybe you can limit if he's wide receiver 3.
Isaiah Rodgers just got a $7-8 million a year deal
right.
by playing the way he plays.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, the game is different today. There's no doubt, but I still think there is, I don't think
I don't think you're wrong.
What's that?
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think your comp is bad. I just think it's tough to gauge because of baseball, and obviously baseball is also a very statistical game. It's not the same with football, with what Travis Hunter could be. Like Shohei Ohtani, pitching off 1.5 ERA and getting 50 stolen bases and 50 home runs. That's a stat-driven game. That's as valuable of a player as you would find in the entire sporting world. A guy that can play corner and wide receiver would not be that for football. He wouldn't even be more valuable than the 15th or 16th best quarterback in the league. So I hear you, but I don't know, man. And the other thing I don't like is Sills. Did you hear what he said about if a team's not going to play him at both, I'll retire? Like,
go ahead.
Was he a little coddled by Dion? Maybe too much.
That's another point of mine with your boy Shedeur.
I know. I'm starting to see a little like. All right, look. As much as I've been high on Shedeur, dog, you're retiring his jersey because he sold some tickets.
13-12.
Bro, 13-12. I get it. Colorado, I get it. All right, they won 2 games back to back. You're retiring the jersey? Oh, come on.
Cordell Stewart was 39-6, and they didn't do his.
Dude, that's baloney. That is baloney. I'm sorry. I like accolades like that, but I believe accolades like that are earned and are rare. And if you get accolades like that, you're in rarefied air. Come on, man. They didn't do that.
Darren Hagen won a national title for them back in the day under McCarthy. His jersey's just getting retired now.
Yeah, they had to do it because they're putting Hunter and Shedeur out.
That's right. But wait a minute. I get Hunter. He won the Heisman. I get Hunter winning the high. I mean, you know what I mean? Shit, they don't. But then again, the history of Colorado versus Alabama, retired jersey numbers at Alabama. You know why? Yeah. I mean, you got to be somebody like stupid great to be able to be retired at Alabama. So I get the history of Colorado, but I was like, come on, guys, 13-12. He was 6-13 in conference play. Yeah. And you're retiring that guy's number?
I mean, I like him. I think he did good things for Colorado and everything. But, like, come on, that's ridiculous. So, I saw that, and then I thought about what you've been saying on the show. And then I listened to Travis Hunter say, I'm retiring if I don't get my way. And I'm like, yo, were these dudes coddled? Were these dudes wearing Charmin diapers over there in Colorado? Maybe, man. Maybe.
Yeah. How about this, man? This is a prime example of what I said to you, that if this guy goes to a shitty organization and a shitty GM, how do you think Shedeur Sanders would do in New York with Brian Dable and Joe Schoen?
How do I think who would do there? Shedeur? I'm not a Brian Dable guy. I'm
not a Joe Schoen guy more than I'm not a Brian Dable guy.
Yeah, I know. That idiot hasn't made many good decisions either. I mean, his talent evaluation is absolutely brutal. It's brutal.
Hey, you know what you all should hope for? Is that Adoree Jackson turns out to be a fucking Pro Bowler. And he's a shutdown corner over there for the Eagles, man. Can you imagine if that guy's sitting there, that guy comes in and now another giant rolls in there? Holy shit. By the way, so I love how Xander.
Wait, if the Giants drafted Shedeur, how many games would they win next year?
4.
4?
4. They got an O-line. That's why I said the Giants should trade down. Shedeur, get this. Anybody they draft at that pick, both GMs are still getting fired at the end of the year. You need multiple picks, dude. You've got to have multiple players, and the draft is from down to the bottom, where the Eagles are, believe it or not, and in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds. You're going to take, does Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, or Abdul Carter change the fortunes of guys on the hot seat? No. You're getting fired. You got to figure out how to bring in horses, dude, not a horse.
Dude, if I'm Shedeur, I'm doing anything.
I don't go there.
I'm doing anything I can to fall to the Steelers. Perfect coach for him.
Yes.
Great, good roster for him. That's the best setup for Shedeur Sanders to have success in the NFL.
Okay. I wrote these down. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go here.
Uh-oh.
Gotta love Xander.
I can see the smirk from a mile away.
Here. Here's Xander in the morning. All right, John. I'm just saying. Hey, AJ Brown trade, because Howard Eskin. Hey, there's just fucking terrible. I got to go over all this bullshit. And here, quite frankly, Howard Eskin got this from Dan Sileo and the great JAKIB Nation here, because I showed Xander the text from the director of football college scouting, Alonzo Highsmith. I showed him the text. We inquired about AJ. So there's one football team. And if there's one, there's multiple. Inquired about the availability of AJ Brown. That doesn't mean Howie went, oh my God, let's move him. Howie probably was looking at it and he wanted to hear what the Patriots' value is on AJ. What would you be willing? Because if you're Howie Roseman, don't you still want to know what the market value is right now on AJ, where he is in his career? Doesn't that tell you and give you an assessment of how team in the league sees you right now? Next year, let's say this. AJ Brown, somebody calls about him, and they have a lesser of a package trade offer, and you start to see other teams saying that. You start to see the value start to go down in AJ a little bit. AJ's value is high now. I'm not suggesting it's not. It is. Okay? And it would command a ton of stuff. And you brought the smartest thing up on that conversation that John ignored. And that was this. Hey, man, you eventually got to start taking a look at your bank account. I mean, you're getting a little low there. You got to figure out how to put more money in. Okay? I mean, AJ Brown's the next guy on the chopping block financially. Is he not?
It's not going to be an offensive lineman. Devontae Smith is much younger and has a way team-friendlier deal. Saquon Barkley, no, he's not tradable. He's not that type of dude. He'd probably move on from him after this new contract is up. Jalen Hurts, obviously not. Although maybe, I don't know, maybe there are some people out there based on Sileo's logic of one dimension. Hey, maybe this team could win with Brock Purdy. This team could win with Jordan Love. This team could win with anybody. But this team could win with Shedeur Sanders.
Dak Prescott, $60 million. Jordan Love, $55 million. Trevor Lawrence, $55 million. Joe Burrow, $55 million. Josh Allen, $55 million. Tagovailoa, $53.1 million. Jared Goff, $53 million. Justin
All right,
Herbert.
so who's more replaceable?
Hold on. 52.5 and Lamar Jackson, $52 million. What do they all have in common? No Super Bowls. What's the point? They're paying them on ability, dog.
Bro, that Cowboy helmet. Now I know why the Cowboy helmet is in the show shot. Because it makes sense. Why
does it make sense what the league does?
Thinks like a Cowboy guy.
No,
right? Thinks like a Cowboy.
Think like the league. Because the league this is a league thing. This ain't a Dan Sileo.
I'm asking you, who is more easily replaced on the Eagles? Jalen Hurts or AJ Brown?
AJ Brown by far.
So you're moving on from AJ before Jalen.
Oh, by far.
Okay, then good. Then then AJ Brown is probably the next piece. Yes, that you would have to.
I think the reason that they're moving on from Goddard is because they paid Barkley.
Well, they had them both under contracts.
Well, they're moving out from one guy to just like they did on the defensive side. They moved Reddick. They paid Huff. Hey, by the way, real quick on Huff. How much of an issue do you think Huff's contract is with how they're doing business on defense?
Because not much. After next year, it's off the books.
Wait a minute. So do you think if Huff wasn't there, they would have kept Sweat? You're paying a guy now $18 million. Josh Sweat was only 19.
It's fair to wonder that. I just don't know if they wanted to pay Sweat at his age, that type of money anyway. But it's not unfair for you to say, hey, would they have signed him? I mean, maybe they would have. They're already wasting $20 million a year at edge. They can't afford to pay another guy $20 million. You could have said, hey, I would have paid Josh Sweat. That's fair. It's fair to say that.
Bryce Huff's making $1.5 million more than Sweat this year. So I mean, just to put that deal in perspective, He's making $1.5 million more than a guy you lost that was the second best player on the field February 9th.
What's the
$1.5
Eagles'
million.
record? What is the Eagles' record without A.J. Brown?
I don't know.
It can't be good, right?
Well, I don't think A.J. Brown. Well, listen, I'm going to say it one more time. A.J. Brown being on the field is a complete asset in the run game. You know why I know that? He was in Tennessee. He's here too. Not saying that. Okay? I mean, this is why he's my type of wideout, Xander. He's my type of wideout because you can keep all the Tyreek kills. I love Justin Jefferson, but he's almost borderline there. The Jamar Chases, the Tyreek kills, all those guys who don't block in the run game, I have no interest in you. I just don't, especially if I'm going to be a dominant team.
So why do you want to get rid of AJ?
I don't want to get rid of him. I'm asking you, how are you going to pay for all these guys coming up here? Don't you think A.J. Brown? Hey, bro, I don't think they wanted to lose all them guys on defense either.
Yeah, I think
I don't think they want.
cap is
You
going to
really
go
think they want to move
50
off
million in 2 years?
Bro, I don't think they want to move off of Goddard.
Hear me out. AJ's under contract for another couple of years. The cap is going to explode another 50 million probably in the next 2 years.
Okay.
So does that eat up some of it? You know, obviously I know you got guys on defense, but now you're looking at it like they're not in a bad spot. They moved on from Gardner Johnson. If you move on from Goddard, if you move on from Bryce Huff coming up in the future, you'll probably sign Jalen Carter. And while it's going to be huge money, that's going to be a team-friendly contract in terms of the way it's structured. I think the same thing will happen with Nolan Smith. We'll probably kick the can down the road, open up some cap space. I think they're in a fine spot now cap-wise.
I don't think cap has anything to do with how they're operating right now.
Cash?
They got $20 million right now in cap space. I don't think there's any.
So you talking cash on me? You talking like they don't want to?
I'm just talking about how they're delegating money. Okay, look. So do you think this? Do you think Jalen Carter, or not Jalen Carter, do you think Jordan Davis gets a second deal? You think he gets a second deal?
Sorry, I was dealing with something in my office.
Oh.
Jordan Davis?
Yeah.
I'm saying no right now. I'm saying no. They brought in Tyleek Williams into the for a top 30 visit. And if they draft him, now they didn't draft him, obviously, but just the fact that they're looking at him makes me wonder if they're exploring cheaper alternatives to do what Davis has done for the defensive line. And that's what I think the realistic thing is going to happen with him is that he's probably going to be gone because 18 million is just too much for that guy. 20% of snaps or 25%, it's not enough. Not enough.
Nolan Smith, does he get a second deal?
Yeah, I think so.
That's 25 annually at minimum.
Well, you're projecting a 12+ sack season then.
Well, if 6 sacks ain't going to cut a second deal.
Okay, well, if he's getting 25 million, what if you give him a Josh Sweat deal?
So you think so the Eagles are going to drop 20 on him over 3. They're going to pay
Maybe.
him 65.
Remember, you talked yesterday. They just want a ball without elite edge rushers.
Man, I'll just ask questions here. I'm just a question asker guy here, man. That's all I am. All right.
Just a question asker. Yeah, just Dean, a question asker.
Does Dean get a second contract?
No. Nope.
Wow.
I don't see it.
Damn shame. Huff is out. Does Keely Ringo get another contract?
Right now, I'm going to say no. They're looking at corners in round 1, 2, and 3. They got corners basically brought in that could go anywhere in the NFL draft. He's going into year 3 now, and he still hasn't been a viable player there. So, look, it would obviously comes down to this year. Right now, it's an incomplete. But if you're asking me to guess, I'm going to guess no. If he plays a good year this year, it's yes.
Okay. So who are you going to pay at safety?
Reed. John tells me they're going to pay Reed.
How much?
I guess like 10 mil.
So they're going to make him the highest. They're going to make him one of the highest paid because the guy in Chicago is getting 12. Kyler, what's his name? They're going to make him the highest. So wait, you're going to have the highest paid D tackle, one of the highest paid linebackers, one of the highest paid slot corners, then one of the highest paid safeties, and a $25 million edge. And you're keeping AJ on that side of the ball too. And you're giving contracts out.
I think AJ's gone in 3 years after 2 more seasons.
I'm just going the way that they have operated this offseason. They have the money to spend. They didn't spend it. They didn't spend it.
So what are you getting at?
I'm getting at they're delegating money for one side of the football only. That's it. They're not going to be paying all that money out on defense. They don't give a shit about getting rid of a guy who was a defensive MVP in the Super Bowl. They don't care.
Are you saying they're not going to pay everybody? They're going to pay Jalen Carter. That's it.
They'll probably pay Jalen Carter. They'll pay Cooper. They'll pay Quinyon.
Cooper and Quinyon are a little far away. Like, I don't think we need to be worried.
They'll pay them guys down the road.
Yeah,
I think the rest of them are interchangeable in their eyes,
including Nolan.
Yeah, because they think. I'll tell you what. I think they like Jalen Hunt a lot.
Do you like Jalen Hunt?
I'm starting to, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I didn't think he was that big.
He's big.
I thought he was small. I thought he was a 6'2" dude. Like 240, 235. See, to me, Nolan Smith's too small. And I think even though he's good, Xander, okay, just like the conversation with Goddard, just like the conversation with Nakobe. Hey, by the way, we're not keeping Nakobe. Why? Because he's always hurt. It's not because he can't play.
It's also because you're not paying 2 linebackers. You just gave Zach Bowen $15 million.
That's right. You're not paying if you're not paying 2 D tackles, you're not paying 2 linebackers.
No, exactly. They're paying 2 DTs well before they pay 2 linebackers. Nakobe Dean is gone. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will be the guy.
Well, one last question here for you, Junior. I'm just curious. Where's that? Are we going to see a bump in pay for Jalen soon?
I don't know. I think that's interesting, man. Because look, hear me out.
He deserves it more than those other guys.
He does. And I hate counting pockets and saying shit like this. But the reason I'm saying it is because the quarterback has said things that make me say it. You talk about money is nice, championships are better. You talk about, Derek Jeter, he wants to get back to a Super Bowl. That is something that Tom Brady did that not many have done in their career. But if you're talking about you want to build a championship roster,
Mahomes is doing it now.
Yeah, you can't be taking pay raises every 2 years.
Okay.
Every 2. You can't. That's not viable. So again, I'm not going to be mad at him if he takes a deal. But if he doesn't, I think that could be a big part of it.
Do I believe that he's acting like Mahomes and Brady right now with Clutch Sports and with Nicole Lynn and how they're doing business? I have to think that no trade, there was some sort of conversation in that building, because you have to remember something. Would I rather have Jalen Hurts' contract at $51 million, or would I rather have Dak? Well, Dak's got one. See, this is where Dallas
Dak doesn't win in the playoffs.
Yeah, but wait a minute. No. I don't care about that right now. I'm talking about control of my destiny. Dak has a no trade. The Cowboys giving that guy a no trade clause who hasn't done dick in the playoffs is absurd. Jalen at least has this resume that he gets to go, this is kind of what I've done here. It's justified, the no trade.
Yeah.
See, that no trade to me is worth $10 million more, because that means the Eagles can't send me to the Jets.
I agree. And here's the thing, LJ says Jalen still lives in some middle class house. Okay, I see that report.
So does Devontae.
No. Let me give you some tidbit of information. All right, I live in this area. All right, I know tons of people around this area. Jalen Hurts does not live in a middle class house in this area. When Jalen Hurts signed his mega deal, he purchased a $6.5 million mansion. It never got out anywhere. Nobody reported it at all. It's still reported that he lives in his little house. That's fine. I don't care what he does. I would have done the same thing. I would have bought a sick house too. I'm not mad at him for doing it. But don't fall for that shit, LJ. That is bullshit that people permeate online. He does not live in a middle-class house. You think the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles lives around here in a middle-class house? Hey, come on, man. The guy's got protect. He's got gates. I mean, come on, brother.
I don't really care what a guy does with his dough.
I don't either. I would have done the same thing. By the way, I've seen the house. It is absolutely stupendous.
I do care what an organization does, because what an organization does, it's not that I care that what they spend. It shows you what their mentality is.
Yeah.
Money tells you where they're going. Okay, like look at the Eagles this offseason here. They have not upgraded anywhere. Nowhere. They
haven't. Not upgraded. No, but they didn't need to.
No. But we don't know, because we got to go into September and we got to see this thing play out a little bit here before we figure that out. But as of right now, you'd make the comment they haven't upgraded. Adding, what have they added talent to? They haven't added talent anywhere. Now you could say, well, they're going to add talent in the draft. Well, we'll see. And you know what? I love the fact they're so successful in the second round. You know, when I started looking at their drafts and you started talking to me about how fucking great a drafter he is, the second round draft picks that have been successful the last 5 years, fucking crazy. There's no team in the league like that.
Yeah.
Second round Pro Bowlers.
That's crazy. The fact that we did that. Yeah.
You're hoping to get starters, not Pro Bowlers.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's
and
crazy.
he's getting Pro Bowlers in round 2.
All pros too.
Dude. And what's crazy is AJ Brown was a second rounder.
Jalen Hurts was an all pro.
When was that? I missed it.
No, 22.
Oh, that's right. 22. Last year he was all UFL.
Super Bowl MVP was UFL. Listen,
2903, 18 touchdowns, all UFL.
Listen to this a-hole. Are you kidding me, dog?
The guy
Super
from
Bowl
Army.
MVP.
The guy from Army had a better year.
Super Bowl 59. This guy dropped how many stats? What did Jalen Hurts do in Super Bowl 59?
Let me see what I'll tell you what his stats were. Hang on.
Let's look at what Jalen Hurts did in Super Bowl 59.
Stats, I'll tell you what.
17 of 22 for 220 and 2 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? Also 72 yards.
This guy threw the ball as many times as J.J. McCarthy did his last year, 338 times. This guy only had 338 passes last year.
Where's he ranked in your quarterback list?
Holy shit. Hang on here. This guy threw the ball for 300. Oh, it's actually 360. He 300 and oh my God. Hang on. I wonder how many people had more completions than he had attempts. Let me look at it.
It's so funny how you've evolved into a beauty pageant guy.
Hold on for a second.
You're truly a beauty pageant guy.
Hold on.
You realize that, right? You are a certified one-dimensional beauty pageant lover.
460 completions. Golf had 390. Baker Mayfield had 407, as did Geno. Who else had more? Oh, here, Mahomes had 392. Aaron Rodgers had 370. This is completions. Hurts had 361 attempts. Oh my God.
Completions. Good for almost.
Holy shit. This guy played in Mountain West.
Wait a second. He was 71% completions in the playoffs.
Yeah, because he threw the ball 5 times.
No, he didn't. He threw the ball 91 attempts in 4 games. What are you talking about?
Man. Look at this here. 361 passing attempts last year in 16 ball games. That's about 15 ball games. That's pretty dope. Holy cow. What did Bryce Young have in attempts? He had 384, 234. Look at this here, man. This guy almost had as many completions as Hurts did. Man, I'll tell you, that's prolific.
Honestly, Sills, can you tell me something? What does that mean, truthfully, to you?
That they ran the ball a ton last year.
Yeah. Why is that a problem? It worked well.
No, because you leaned on your running back. There's no doubt. I got it.
In 22, we didn't lean on our
You're going to win the Super Bowl this year like that, too, if you do.
I agree.
You're going to take that saddle and you're going to drop that saddle back on that big old pony called Saquon Barkley, and you're going to ride that thing as long as you can until that pony breaks down.
That's
what you're going to do.
I'm calling you a sphincter.
I'll tell you what, I ain't putting that Super Bowl saddle on Hurts.
I'm calling you a sphincter from now on. That's what you are, bro.
I'm going to put that damn that saddle all over on Barkley. Drop that baby right on there.
Jalen Hurts had 630 rushing yards last year and 14 touchdowns.
I love him as a runner, man. He is one dope runner.
Well, it does matter.
Hey, here, folks, remember this. Jalen Hurts has a better chance of leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns than he does ever at passing touchdowns. Okay? That's
so is your legitimate number one metric, like if someone throws the most passing touchdowns, that's who I like the most?
I'm going to do this here like every NFL player that ever has been in this league. How the fuck am I getting paid? Let me see here. I ain't getting paid on wins. That's not
Jalen
how it works. Oh, Jalen is. Well, everyone else ain't. And everyone else is making more.
This dog.
I mean,
how does it feel?
NFL players get paid on talent.
How does it feel to be a beauty pageant?
You mean paid? Great.
No, you're a beauty pageant guy.
No, I'm a paid guy.
You're the judge of a beauty pageant.
No. I talk about those numbers because paychecks matter. By the way, Mike McCarthy from Front Office
Get
Sports.
me out of here, please, on a football Friday. This guy's torturing me.
Hey, it's a Good Friday, too.
It's Good Friday. And
what are you doing for Sunday? What are you doing for Sunday?
Sunday, we got a big, we go to my aunt's house up in Chester County. She lives on 50 acres on the top of a hill. It's insane. Huh?
Making a ham?
My aunt does all the food, but there'll probably be ham. There'll be everything. My mom and
I think we're going to do a turkey.
Oh, nice. I'm a turkey guy. You know, some people only like to eat turkey on Thanksgiving. I love turkey. But she's 100% Italian, my aunt. So, you know, it's going to be good food. It's going to be really good food. And we'll be up at her place. So, but all my family is getting together for the weekend. So, Easter is a big one for us. We love it. We love
Easter. Yeah, that's my grandma's favorite.
Who's a follower of Jesus. This is the biggest week of our faith. So, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Let's read these supers and get your ass out of here.
All right, let's do it.
Come on, Jalen.
All right, beauty pageant. All right, beauty boy. Drew Pauly says Sills thinking is one-dimensional. Dude threat. Twizzler Jigger. What up, Twizzler? Member for 15 months. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. You know I do. He says, first year setting protection, so we leaned on the run game, and why wouldn't we stop it? You have to earn the right for us to air it out. And
that's nice. That's nice. After 6 years, you get a chance to learn how to set protections.
Wait, who am I?
Cow.
Who am I?
Hey, after 6 years.
Ready? Who am I? Super Bowl 59. The lights are bright. Here. Oh, this is a Steve Spags defense. Call it out. Ready? Hot route. Audible. Jalen Hurts at the line of scrimmage in the Super Bowl.
Oh,
dissecting.
Yeah. My $65 million got deposited. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. What? Who won the Super Bowl? That's one. Hey, Xander, that's wonderful.
Oh, Sills. Fucking Sills. What am I going to do with this dude? Gabe, what's up, Gabe? Gabe Santos checks in. One-dimensional means we can't succeed any other way. We were able to succeed in the passing game when needed. Hold the L, Sills, just like you did all last year. Oh! One-dimensional. By that standard, you're like half a dimension.
This is what people like to do when people need reality talk. You know the bat signal that comes in? They go like this.
Now this guy's going to start using this stupid.
This is like the bat signal. Sills, come on, man. This is the bat signal.
Guy has a toy flashlight, which will now be incorporated into the show.
Thank
Rashid,
you.
What's up, Rashid? Being one-dimensional and relying on the run are two different things. I tried to explain this. Everyone in Tampa team tried to take away the run, they lost too. Correct, Rashid. Well done.
$65 million. Thank you.
Well stated, Rashid. Appreciate you. Kimbos. What's up, Kimbos? Thanks for becoming a member earlier. Drew Pauly became a member as well. William and Kimbo. So three of you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Kimbo says, Milrow digressed because of Saban's retirement. Same with Carson Bennett. That would be regressed, but that works. That works too. Digressed. Same with Carson
in my book. It's good.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I'm not the grammar post.
Yeah.
I'm not that smart. Same with Carson Beck. Digression to Todd Monken lost to NFL. Answer to Munden, linebacker from Georgia.
Okay. Always great conversations when it talks about assistant coaches that are around these quarterbacks. Hey, so let me ask you this then. If you're telling me Milrow regressed, then Jalen Hurts must have regressed when he was at Alabama too. Do you blame Nick for him regressing at Alabama? Do you?
Hell.
Nick Saban.
Are you talking about Jalen? Well, he didn't necessarily regress because when he started his career, like I remember.
How much better is he now than when you were there when he was at Alabama?
Dude, if you told me in 2018 was that? Or 2017, whatever it was, if you told me when I was a student at Alabama that Jalen Hurts would be what he is today, I would have looked you in the face and said, you are certifiably insane.
You think Nick Saban shocked who he is?
I think the benching in the national championship was the best thing that ever happened to Jalen Hurts.
You think Nick shocked who he is? Do you think Nick is shocked that he's this guy?
Nick Saban?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think he would tell you he's improved, but I think Nick probably saw the work ethic up close in person.
The better question is, do you think Nick regrets benching Jalen for Tua?
No, because it worked in that game. Maybe the following year, remember what you say about Jalen and Lamar, that you think Lamar's got more talent, but Jalen sees his way around the game better.
He does.
I think the same thing can be said with Tua, where he obviously won a lot of games, but remember, that team was loaded with talent. And in college football, when you're loaded with talent, you're head and shoulders above everybody. I think Jalen saw his way around those games so well. And actually, if you go back and watch him, that was probably his best attribute and why he was 26-2. And he didn't throw much, bro. My rookie year or my freshman year, I think he threw the ball 12 or 15 times in that first game when they won 52-6.
Who was the back on that team then? Was it Najee?
The running back was Najee, but he came later. I think he was second year. Jalen's freshman year, the back was probably
Henry. Henry was gone by then, right?
No, it wasn't Henry. Henry left the year before.
Or was it Trent Richardson?
No, it wasn't Trent Richardson. Alabama roster.
I don't remember who the back in the backfield was then.
Oh, Bo Scarborough. That's who it was. Okay. And Najee was there as well.
He wasn't awful there. He was a good college player.
He was a great college player. I thought he was going to be much better in the league, actually, but he wasn't. He wasn't. It was him. It was, who else did we have, though? I thought we had a couple. Josh Jacobs, but he was super young. He wasn't playing at that point. You had Bo Scarborough, obviously. I mentioned, who else did we have there? I thought there was another one. Because remember, this was when Alabama used to have, wasn't
at the time, though, Xander, that Alabama was also making that transition from being a run team to throwing and spreading it around because early on they had
Damian Harris. That's who they had. Damian Harris.
Was Robinson there? Brian Robinson too?
Brian Robinson there he didn't play that year. Neither did Jacobs. They were both young.
No, I
remember Josh Jacobs was a 3-star recruit. He didn't play until his last year at Bama. He only had 284 yards that year. Damian Harris led the team. Jalen Hurts was second on the team with 855 yards. Bo Scarborough was third. Najee Harris was fourth.
How about this? I'm going to make a prediction to you, dude, that Dallas Goedert's traded on day 2 of the draft.
Yeah, but why? You lose $9 million in cap space versus if you wait till June 1, you save $4 million, so it's a $13 million swing.
I don't think they're worried about saving money. I think
you might be right. You might be right. Yeah, especially cap space.
I mean, because you know why I said that? This whole thing doesn't make sense. So to me, you're either getting a draft pick or you don't care about that. Maybe that's why he saved the money, is because he was going to eat some salaries. Because look, you know what he's got to do? If you want to move off Bryce Huff and send him to the Chargers want him, but they want half the money eaten. Maybe because the $20 million, Xander, that they have saved in the cap is because they're going to eat some dough when it comes to Goddard and Huff and move them on draft day to clear those roster spots for guys in the draft at lower paychecks. Don't you think that makes more economical sense to them?
Yes.
Especially since they're counting pennies, right?
You might be right. Hollywood says, Happy Easter, Sills, Xander, and entire chat. Happy Easter, brother. Thank you, man. Absolutely. I appreciate you, Hogan. Hogan says, prediction, Cena wins 17th, Sills, Xander. I don't know much, so my opinion's doesn't mean much, but I'll play Cena wins it.
Cena the heel?
Yeah, he's the heel right now. I don't know how
he's never won remember this. I'll give you guys a little kayfabe. You know what kayfabe means, folks?
I do. That's like inside baseball, right?
When you guys are going over the script and you're talking, remember, this is how the scripts work. The script has a beginning and end. It's up to us to fill in the blank. And get this, if I'm going to lose, that means I get to kick Xander's ass, but Xander's going to pin me in the end. Okay? And we've got to make that thing look great. So it's the beginning and the end, and we got to fill the middle. Guy walks in the room, you go, kayfabe, kayfabe. That means that, you start talking about, I'm going to beat the shit out. And you start doing all that stupid shit. But so to me, because John Cena is on the heel mark and he's never won a championship and he's never been in that role, I say he wins the 17th championship because it's good. Remember, what makes a great sport? Having villains. If you don't have villains, I think he's a shitty villain, though. To me, I'd make Roman Reigns a villain. And you know how you do it? By him endorsing Trump.
Yeah,
see him the other day endorsing
they're
Trump.
not matching each other. It's Cody versus Cena, right? I don't know. Enough, honestly.
No, what I'm saying is if you want to make
another villain, you got to fill the villain role.
Yeah, you turn Roman Reigns now, and you have Donald Trump show up, which he would because he loves WWE. And
I heard he's going to show up. I'm not sure if he will or not, but I heard Trump will be there. I'm not sure if it's true.
Yeah, it's in Vegas.
Yeah, it's in Vegas.
So,
Devin is also one to wish all happy Easter.
I'll tell you what, man. Thank you very much, Devin. I'll tell you this, that Triple H, man, has done a fabulous job at putting the scripts together for that. He has been everything that, you go back in the day with Ole Anderson and Cowboy Bob Orton, who used to do all that stuff too. Bobby Heenan used to do that. Some of these guys were really great script writers. Triple H has really been great because, again, remember something. Hey, folks, I'll tell you this. What I'm telling you right now about wrestling, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Okay? I don't care what the ending is. I just know this. When you get out of that ring, your body is toast.
I know. I always tell that people, it's fake. I'm like, all right, it's scripted. It's not fake. Believe me, these dudes are going through the ringer to do this shit, man.
Bro, it hurts. Okay? That's all I can say is that it's one of the most difficult things that I've ever done.
Xander, I got to run.
You got it, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Happy Good Friday to everybody. God bless everybody. Happy Easter to you. See you next time, everybody.
You got it. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. We are working on our friend Michael McCarthy. And Michael McCarthy is, again, one of the great media people in the country right now. And he works for Front Office Sports. And we're going to get him on the program, and we're going to talk some broadcasting. We'll talk WWE. We'll talk, again, WrestleMania 41 coming up and how big that is. Also, we'll get his take on streaming. We'll get his take on where the NFL is going to go. Does he ever see where you're going to see a Super Bowl that is going to be streamed? I think maybe one day you're going to see that. So make no mistake about it. So hopefully we can get a chance to catch up with Michael McCarthy. Don't forget also, we got Jason Cole coming up with us. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern time. Let's get to Morgan & Morgan here, our good friends. As you go into Easter weekend, folks, I want to tell you about a family-owned organization and a family-run business. That is Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in America with over $26 billion in recoveries for families across the country. That is the number one thing that Morgan & Morgan does. That's their record. It is unmatched anywhere. In Pennsylvania here, they recovered nearly $30 million for a family. They were initially offered $650K on a settlement. No way. Morgan & Morgan and his team, they came in and they made sure they did the very best for that family, and they got nearly $30 million in recovery for that family. In Florida, family was offered $350,000, $12 million that family was awarded. If you're ever injured, do me a favor, folks. Check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's FORthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. By the way, we will be getting on Craig Carton again on Friday. Love Craig Carton. Absolutely one of the best friends of ours. Of course, he did radio at WIP. Real quick before I get to Mike McCarthy, I've been dying to talk to Mike. I love his work. You know, we had a guy back in the day named Rudy Martzke, who was one of the only guys that I really trusted in the media. And I used to go over his house in Kissimmee when I was broadcasting down in Florida. And he was such a huge friend of mine, one of the godfathers of sports media. I think Neil Best up in New York, if I'm not mistaken, Newsday, he's up there as another friend of ours. And we've been really fortunate enough to have those two guys as our friends. Rudy obviously passed away about a year ago. And we started watching and started reading a little bit with Mike McCarthy and what he does with Front Office Sports. And I think that website and I think what they post, I go there every morning. And I absolutely love what he does. So we appreciate him. He's going to be with us here in a second here. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Let's go to him now and get his thoughts here. Mike, how you doing, man? I appreciate you doing this. And I love your work. And I love where Front Office Sports. I know that you've been involved with the New York Times. I know you were involved with other publications. What made you start here with Front Office Sports and talk about the direction of where it's going?
Yeah, thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting Front Office Sports. What happened is, as you know, I was kind of the player to be named later in sports media. You know, I worked with the legendary Rudy Martzke, who was a great guy, just passed away recently. God bless him and his family. I was at the Sporting News, and I met a young, hot Charger named Adam White, who had this idea called Front Office Sports that he had come up with Russ Weil in their college days at the University of Miami. And we met, and he told me about his idea for the site. I had been in touch with him because I liked their work very much. And next thing you know, I was there, and 6 years later, we are the biggest website at the intersection of sports, business, and entertainment. So I couldn't be prouder of Front Office Sports and Adam and for Russ.
Wow, that's great. He's a hurricane. Holy cow. So he must have been down there a little bit after we were here. So speaking of college football then, Mike, talk a little bit about the importance. Yesterday came public that Lee Corso, I put these guys as the guys for me. I had Brent Musburger on yesterday. I think he's one of the 5 guys. I had Keith Jackson. I had Charlie Jones, who used to call college games and pro games. And I also had Bino Cook, and I had Lee Corso. In your opinion, where do you think Lee and his importance to college sports, especially that game? Mike, that's the only show I get up on ESPN in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning Pacific time to watch, because I think it's the best show on ESPN. His importance to that show, it started in 87.
Yeah, I mean, you named some fantastic names. He's right there on the Mount Rushmore. I don't know if he's 1 or 1A or 1B, but you're right. And college football Saturdays are never going to be the same without Coach. He popularized college football, and he created the whole idea of that traveling road show, which everybody has tried to mimic. Fox has tried to mimic. They tried to do it at the Super Bowl, but nobody has ever done it as well as Coach did it with Game Day. And the secret to Coach is not just he knew his ball and he knew college football. He's an entertainer, right? He came up with this idea for this headgear thing in 1996. They went to all these leaps and bounds to get Brutus Buckeyes headgear because they knew Herb Street, who was just a young shaver at the time, was married to a former Ohio State cheerleader. He put it on, the crowd went nuts, and a tradition was born. And Coach has been doing it ever since. And I also give ESPN a lot of credit. We live in an ageist society where they take all the people they want to push into the side in favor of the hot and new. And Coach Corso suffered a stroke in 2009, which we could all tell impacted him on the air, sometimes greatly, sometimes not as greatly. But ESPN stuck with him just like they stuck with Dick Vitale. And I give them a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely. Our show's based in Philly. And I'll ask you about the face of the league, and I'll say this about the NFL. The NFL is the only sport, Mike, that, if you lose Michael Jordan in the NBA, you see ratings plummet. If you lose, and I saw your story when you were talking about the Masters on the first 2 days, Thursday and Friday, the Tiger effect was in full effect there, that you didn't see massive numbers, but the NFL seems to be Teflon, and they don't really have. Can a guy be a face of a league like Jalen Hurts? I mean, he's on the Time magazine, most influential. I mean, who do you think is the face of the NFL, or does the NFL have one?
I think the face of the NFL is still Patrick Mahomes because, of his track record and his amazing ability. But I'll tell you, Jalen Hurts is coming up here. And you know why? The NFL, probably more than any sport, values guts, right? Sheer male guts, bravery, Elway spinning like a top to try to get his first Super Bowl. You know what I mean? People bulldozing each other. You know what I mean? You go back and you watch those NFL films that I grew up on. It was all about toughness and grit. And Jalen Hurts is one of the toughest sons of bitches I've ever seen. I've watched him play in 2 Super Bowls, including one with Mahomes, and he was the best player on the field both times. Right? This is a guy who could have packed it in after sorry, I'm in the middle of a story. Packed it in after Alabama, all this type of stuff. And he came back and he used his grit and his toughness and he won the Super Bowl and he showed everybody that, when the heat is on, he's just as good as Mahomes. I mean, that's so during the regular season. You remember this regular season? Everybody was ready to fly the beginning of the season. It was like every day I'd get up. Is Nick Sirianni going to make the season? And then, but in the season, he poured it on. And the other thing I have to lament as a New York Giants fan, and, I'm about an hour up the turnpike from you here, one of the stupidest moves in the history of the NFL, my New York Giants literally gifting the best running back in the league to the Eagles over a piddly matter of $1 million. They'll never live it down.
How about this, Mike? Now that you said that, because I constantly rip the Giants too. You see that Robustelli jersey in the back there?
Yes,
my uncle's Andy Robustelli.
No kidding, a Giant great.
And that jersey right there was the one hanging at the old Giant Stadium, his retirement jersey, when they put the number in the Ring of Honor. And so I knew Wellington Mirror. I used to put cones up in the end zone at the Yale Bowl back in the day when they were making that transition from Yankee Stadium to the Yale Bowl, and I was putting there George Young, my uncle was the general manager of the team, actually. Then George Young came in. And that's how I met all those guys. Like, so again, I see Barkley leaving. Wellington Mara must be spinning in his grave right now, watching what Barkley did a year ago, because that was an incredible performance by Saquon.
Yeah, and the fact that they caught it on tape is also something. You know what I mean? That the Giants will never be able to live down. Mara, the boss, is telling the guys running the team, this guy's the most popular player on the team. Who are we going to put out there? The fans are going to. You're going to let him go, and he could end up on the Eagles. But it's fantastic, the family history you have, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. My dad grew up season ticket holder, Yankee Stadium. As a kid, he took me and my brothers to the Yale Bowl, Shea Stadium. I remember when Giant Stadium opened in 1976. They said it would never happen. They called it a disaster in the Meadowlands. And I'll tell you something about the old Giants teams. They popularized the idea of defense. That chant, defense, started with Andy Robustelli's Giants.
Absolutely. Why is the NFL must-see television compared to other sports? You see the NBA's numbers. When you go over to Front Office Sports, you chronicle what leagues are doing. I'm glad to see the NHL. I saw them release something that attendance was up for them, and I think that's a great sign for them. But in your opinion, Mike, why do you think the NFL is must-see television?
Excuse me, I'm literally working on a story, so excuse me for checking down my phone like Adam.
That's okay, all good. We love multitaskers here, Mike. We're good.
I'll tell you that one of the best quotes I've ever heard about the NFL, because I asked the same question to the late great Frank Gifford, Monday Night Football, of course, and he said the NFL is the most perfect game ever invented for the television screen. You think about it, a rectangular television screen. NFL is a rectangular field, 100 by 50. You could see practically all 22 players at the snap. The constant snaps whistle are perfect for commercial breaks. It's literally the perfect game invented for television. And, when he told me that, it was like a light bulb went on in my head, and he was right. And, that's why the NFL is, blown past every other sport to become not only the single most popular property of sports, single most popular property in entertainment. It is single-handedly keeping up the Jenga block of television. Because if you didn't have the NFL, these networks would crumble.
Absolutely. Mike, tell me this. Do the TV networks run college football, in your opinion now? I mean, because back in my time, you had a different, there weren't a lot of teams that were on television. It was kind of more controlled by the NCAA. Now, the television networks like ESPN, I mean, you go with brands today. As you know, brands sell. I mean, look at the NCAA basketball tournament. I mean, there were all 4-1 seeds in there. There was no more drama in there. I don't know if that's going to be a one-of year, but in your opinion, do you start to see the television networks like Fox and ESPN running college football, in your opinion? And is it a good thing?
If they're not running college football, they're getting damn close to it. Yeah, I mean, college football, when the networks, wave those dollars around, you know what I mean? They'll basically play in the middle of the night, on a Wednesday night. There's another great quote I heard about, college football. The sport is consolidating, as we all know. And in the end, there's only going to be two conferences left. You know what they are? ESPN and Fox. Those are going to be the only two conferences left.
My couple last ones here for you. WrestleMania 41. What makes that property on what McMahon has done? To me, my friend Jason Cole, NFL Hall of Fame voter, said that Jerry Jones is kind of like the P.T. Barnum or the Vince McMahon of the NFL and how he promotes his football team. I guess they got it from Vince McMahon. What makes that entity so big? This weekend, obviously, WrestleMania 41. What makes that so big?
Yeah, I think Vince McMahon was smart enough to view wrestling as a global entertainment property, not just a local barnstorming thing. You know what I mean? It's a legendary story, but first WrestleMania, which I attended, with Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan, the legend goes that Vince basically mortgaged everything on it.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't a success, he was out of business. The company was out of business. But he knew that wrestling was coming up, that was a perfect property for cable sports. Now, this is when cable sports was exploding, not the crumbling model we have now. And he put it on television. I mean, one of the things I keep telling people about sports is sports is always changing, right? If you go back to, when my father was growing up, what were the big sports? You know what I mean? Horse racing,
Yeah.
pro boxing. I mean, even when I was a kid, you'd occasionally have boxing fights on ABC Wide World of Sports.
Right.
Get to see LA. You know what I mean? Boxing went all pay-per-view. Boxing, took it off free TV. And as a result, they became a niche sport. The one thing the NFL has done, and I'm afraid they're starting to tinker with this model too, is they always kept their games on free broadcast television. Always, always, always. That's how they became number one. That's how they blew past baseball. That's how they blew past boxing. That's how they blew past horse racing. By giving their games for free, over the air, broadcast television. All you need is a little rabbit ears, to get your signal, and you can watch, Packers versus the Steelers, or, Steelers versus the Cowboys. And they're starting to tinker with that model, giving this game to, this streaming platform, and this one to that one, and this one to that one. And I'm worried they might kill the golden goose.
Finally, Mike, do you think streaming is destroying, like it did the newspaper business, network television, especially when it comes to sports? I mean, I see ESPN now, man. I mean, they're doing everything in their power to try to get into gambling. ESPN Bet has been a colossal failure so far. And they're trying to do everything they can to stream now. I mean, is streaming now and YouTube and all that hurting them?
Streaming is destroying it. I think it's changing it. I think for our generation or older, people have a hard time handling streaming, right? Because even now, I don't care if you're an 18-year-old kid and you're a hacker. Streaming takes a lot of process to get the game. You got to click into Amazon, right? And you got to take the game, and you can't switch around in your dial anymore in between commercials. You got to get off that platform and go back to free TV or get on another platform. But, look, the media changes. Broadcast TV was it, and then cable TV came along, and then, pay-per-view came along. So, sports is always adapting. I don't think it's going to destroy it. I think that the generation that's coming up now is very used to it. I don't think they have appointment television. I mean, I have two kids, one is 23 and the other is 21. Every day, their whole life is on demand. Right? They watch sports or TV or entertainment where and when they want it. They aren't getting TV Guide every week and circling the Brady Bunch 8 o'clock at 9 o'clock, and on Friday night, saying, "Wow, I got to be there for that." They'll watch it whenever they want.
Absolutely, Mike. I can't tell you how we appreciate this. I hope we can do this again. Make sure you go over, folks, to his work. What are you working on right now, by the way, so folks can go over and check it out and read your new story coming up?
As a matter of fact, literally while I'm doing this interview, my colleague Ryan Glasspiegel is breaking a huge story about Shannon Sharpe possibly lining up $100 million podcast deal. As you know, Sharpe has exploded since leaving Fox Sports 1. His interview with comedian Cat Williams has got 90 million views. He's got a part-time job now with Stephen A. Smith and ESPN. So go to frontofficesports.com. We have breaking news for you about one of the hottest personalities in sports media right now, who's Shannon Sharpe.
Wow, that's great news, man. I appreciate Mike. I hope we could do this again.
My pleasure.
Read you. Thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure, and thank you for inviting us.
You bet. Front Office Sports, Mike McCarthy there. That was great stuff. Make sure you check out that story. Does great work. By the way, Shannon, look at what he has done after that Skip Bayless one day when Skip went after him. And look where he is. Did you hear that? Breaking news. Sharpe has signed a $100 million deal with a new streaming company. That guy doesn't need ESPN any longer. He does not need it. Look at where he's going and where he's elevating to right now compared to where Bayless is. I mean, what a colossal disaster by Fox Sports. Hey, you could say that all you want. Don't hate the guy because the guy know how to manipulate the game the same way McAfee did. Dude, I love those guys. I mean, hey, I don't really personally give a shit about their takes. I don't care. I care that these guys are growing their brands. That's what I care about. Well, this guy's got a shitty take. Guys, you're missing the point. You're missing who McAfee is. Let me tell you this. McAfee and Sharp don't need ESPN. Stephen A. Smith does. There lies the difference. Stephen A. Smith needs ESPN. That's why he can't stand on his own. Sharp is standing on his own. That's what makes it special. Breaking news. As always, right here on the Big Sills Show. And Shannon Sharp is signing a new deal. You do it. Hey, Twiz, one of the biggest media people in America just came on your show. How you doing? Where do you get that anywhere? Just little old me and Xander and Big Joe. Isn't that right, Xander? This is little old us versus the world, especially hey, by the way, those studs in Philly, cross-dressing broad, and the other thing, that Philly snots or sports, whatever it is, with Anthony. Yeah, okay. Nobody knows who they are. Who are you? Oh, good. Oh, by the way, come on, man. Jalen Hurts has guts. I'm going to throw up. Did you hear, Mike? Jalen Hurts has guts. I like watching guts. I like watching guts. Hey, dude, look at this guy moaning and bitching. I'm not talking about Philly, bitch. I'm talking about the dudes in it. Those dudes. I'm awake or you were, boys. It's all good. How you doing? Jalen Hurts has guts. Good Friday to you, brother. Dude, get it. I'm awake or you gets it. Or I'm awake or something, whatever. I don't know. Hey, come on now. Jalen Hurts has guts. That's what sells in America. No, that's what sells in Philly. He's got guts. He's not the face of the league. That guy will never be. 2903. Shit, the running back had as many yards rushing as he had passing. Come on now. Nah, not me. Absolutely not. Jim Ross is better at the commentary table. Not sure who's Jim Ross. Yeah, I know who. Sills, I'm with you on your Jalen takes, but you're losing me there. The guy is ice cold. The moment's never too big. No quit. I think you're right. I think you're right. I do. I think the guy is a winner. I think the guy is a gamer. He's a smarter player than Lamar Jackson. I agree with you. I think it's true. I think Lamar's a better athlete and a better player. However, I think Aaron Rodgers is a better player than Tom Brady. That don't mean they're better quarterbacks. I think they're two different conversations. Tom Brady doesn't do one thing better than Aaron Rodgers, except win. That's it. Real quick, I have ranked the top 3 players for your pleasure. I did a lot of work last night at every position on who the Eagles could take with the top 3 picks. Top 3 guys. After that, it's best player available at the rest of these positions. Okay? We're going to do that. Also, storylines heading into the NFL draft. I've got a couple for draft night. I think there's going to be a lot more storylines in the second and third day of the NFL draft. Okay? I do. NFC East teams with their needs. We're going to look at that. And my top 5, like I said, my top 3 players, my blue chip guy, or my top 5 blue chip guys. We're going to do that as well. So let me get to the board now. Here, I'll show you what I did. By the way, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. I love that Mike McCarthy from Front Office Sports just broke a story that Shannon is signing a brand new multi-year deal at $100+ million. That's really great stuff. We appreciate him for coming aboard. All right. Here are Jason Cole is going to join us. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern. Let's start here. Running backs. Here are the top 3 players in the draft, according to Big Sills. Ashton Genty, Boise State. Omarion Hampton, UNC. And Travion Henderson, Ohio State. Those are the top 3 running backs. Okay? Goodbye. I didn't force you to come here. So this dude right here got up next to his boyfriend laying in bed. And he goes, Bob. Oh, sorry, I'll take Bob back. Here. Shaniqua. Now I'll take that back too, because I know it's Shaniqua. She's hot. Let me go here. Stan. No, that's not good enough. How about this one? Wait a minute. Kenny. So Jeffrey and Kenny were laying in bed, and these guys were looking over at one another, and he goes, I'm sick of Sileo, and I'm sick of his shit. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call him and tell him to F off. Boy, man, did you hear what Mike just said? So this dude had to hit the clicker. He had to go over here. So there it is, Jacob. There it is. National Football Show. Kenny, I'm almost there. Hang on. Fuck off, Sills. Hey, kid. Hey, do me a favor, man. When you're done, just try to stay out of adults' games here. You're at the big boy table. You need to sit over at the kiddie table with the sippy cup. Mitch. That's his boyfriend's name, Mitch. Just go sit at the little kiddie table. You have a little sippy cup. You guys can get your little kisses, those Hershey kisses. The ones you get in an Easter egg hunt. I bet this guy goes on Easter egg hunts. He's 44 years old. Hey, can I go on an Easter egg hunt? Yeah, sure, kid. No. Yeah, Jeffrey goes on an Easter egg hunt. and he's looking for kisses in a plastic egg. Look what I got. He says, fuck off. Yeah. This guy eats Happy Meals at night. I want a Happy Meal. Holy shit. Holy cow, where was I? Oh, man. You know that skit that Chris Farley used to do and that kid they used to take to the Yankee games? And that kid got hit in the head with a baseball bat? That's Jeffrey. He's that kid. He gets him a pretzel, then the kid gets hit in the face with a baseball. That's Jeffrey. Yeah. Oh, man. This is good day here. M. Reyes is even laughing. Yeah, he reminds me of that guy that goes to the Chris Farley guy at the Yankee game. Yeah. I'm out of here. Hey, kid, have at it, man. I'm sure there's other places for you to go play at a playground. Don't bug us. We got shit to do here. We got to build a football team back up to being a championship defense. Can't sit around here wet nursing you. Sippy cup and a Happy Meal, please. Oh, yeah. Can I get a DQ Blazer, please? Yeah. Thank you. That's what Jeff does when he goes up to the window at McDonald's. I'll take a Happy Meal. Can make sure there's 2 toys in. And can I please make sure you put it in a sippy cup? Thank you. Back to work here. Hey, just remember this, Crowley. This is why we love Crowley. Crowley gets it, man. Hey, you take shots at Sills. How you doing? Right? Actually, I'll tell you something else. Okay? Anybody takes a shot at M. Reyes, I might kick their ass. Only I could take a shit on him. Oh, man. Let's go here. So, again, recap here after we're interrupted by the kids' table. Running backs. Okay? Ashton Ginty, Beast, Boise State, Omarion Hampton, North Carolina, and Travion Henderson, Ohio State. Those are the 3 best backs. I think the rest of them are okay. All right? All right. Wide receivers, Ted McMullen, Arizona. Travis Hunter, Colorado. And number 3, Emeka Buka, Ohio State. Tight ends, Tyler Warren, Penn State. Colston Loveland, Michigan, and Mason Taylor, LSU. Those are I'm giving you the top 3 guys, okay, at every position in the draft. I've kind of put some guys in different categories too, okay? Who says there's anything wrong with DQ? Something wrong with Jeffrey and his guy Martinez. I mean, come on, Steve. Jeffrey laying in bed with Martinez, wanting to take a shot at Sills? I don't know. Seems a little odd to me. Okay. Offensive tackle. Will Campbell, LSU. Armand Mibu, Missouri. Number 3, Josh Simmons, Ohio State. Those are my top 3 OTs. OG and center, interior lineman. Tyler Booker, Bama. Donovan Jackson, Ohio State. Jared Wilson, Georgia. Again, these are guys, the Eagles, if they're falling, dude, my opinion, these guys are all late first round, second round guys, except for Hunter. When I see these guys, they're good players. Are they first round, 15th pick? No. Look at the success that you guys have had in the second round, the last 3 draft picks where you guys have picked in the second round. You guys have killed it in the second round. Okay? You too. You make sure you have a great Easter weekend. Defensive tackles. Big Sills is forte. By the way, I want to send a note out to somebody that I'm very disappointed in. Here, before I say defensive tackles here, I want to make sure that I send this out to this kid. We got a lot of people that are watching from the University of Miami, and I want to make sure I send this out to this kid. Hey, Josh Horton, who was a 4-star kid who was recruited by the University of Miami. He's now in the transfer portal. He had 2 tackles in 2 years. You couldn't cut it. Not everybody can cut it at Miami. Good luck to you, and I'm sorry you couldn't make it, and I'm sorry you couldn't make it happen. But when you play defensive tackle at the University of Miami, there's a standard there, and you fell far short of it. You want to transfer? You don't want to gut it out? You don't want to do what Jalen Hurts did? That's on you. That's a loser's mentality. It's one thing to succeed at a place and go try to get yourself some more money. It's another thing to fail at a place and think that the place failed you. You must not have looked at the recent Hall of Famers that have gone to Canton that came out of my school. Kid, you failed miserably. And I have no use for somebody who doesn't gut it out. Good luck to you at Kennesaw State or at Eagle Creek University. I hope you have a great chance and great time at Eagle Creek University. Okay? Great chance. Talk to me about you don't leave that place. That place makes you. It's the greatest alumni of all time. Take a look at the Hall of Famers. Okay. Okay. Well, here, let me help Twizwa on the recent Hall of Fame classes. Miami, except for 3 classes in the last 15 years, hasn't had somebody from the University of Miami go into the Hall of Fame. Twizwa. Come on, Twizwa. Or there's always somebody nominated from the University of Miami every year, kid. Read a book. I'll help you. No. Don't worry about it. I'll help you out. Okay? I'll help you out, kid. Every year there's somebody too easy. Here, look. Twiz. You know how many people don't get my attention every day? I'm so proud that you got my attention. Good for you. You, crowning achievement. Having a kid, successful in business, and getting Big Sills' attention. I'm happy for you because it's not that easy to get my attention. As Xander. Yeah. It's not that easy. Way to go, Twiz. Good for you. If you notice, LJ's been posting away like a maniac. It's over. Me and him, I just use him for the algorithm. Keep posting away, kid. Love you. Hope your takes are good. Oh, man. Bang! All right. Defensive tackles. I had to say that about Josh Luzard Horton. Kid wants to transfer? Get out. Here we go. Mason Graham, Michigan. Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. Kenneth Grant, Michigan. Those are your 2. Okay? Don't make me feel bad for you, Sills. I know it's been a horrible offseason for you. It's been a great one. I never lose. It's called conviction, dude. You could have soft sports talk hosts who have no opinion, or you can have people that have an opinion and try to lie about their takes. Not here. That's what I've had a spectacular offseason. Spectacular. I never lose. I never lose. Look here. I never lose. Do you understand? Just little jabber, dude. I never lose. How come I never lose? Look. I never lose. Look at me. I'll use a famous line from Charlie Sheen. Winning. 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 Oh, he's not going to recognize me. Good for you, Twizwa. Okay. Sills, any validation? Oh. Yeah. It's true. They called the Eagles. I have 1,000% facts that the New England Patriots have contacted the Eagles about the availability of A.J. Brown. I've actually shared that text from the vice president of football operations for college scouting with 3 people, Xander, Howard Eskin, and Angelo Cataldi. Ask them. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that Howie Roseman's going to make a move sending AJ to the Patriots. That does not mean that. Okay? Nothing. Patriots have nothing to offer us except the 4th overall pick. Okay. That sounds right. Okay. We want him. We want him to. Shh. Don't tell him. Don't tell him he helps the show with all the posts. Don't tell him. Just don't tell him. He doesn't know any better. He's a fucking Canadian. What would he know? Milk? He doesn't know hockey. I mean, what would he know? He doesn't know anything. He's from Canada. No sports talk in Canada. Do they have radio stations in Canada? I hear they got plastic cups that they stick to their ear and they talk to their buddy in an igloo. Hey, wait. Oh, sorry. Hey, Bob. How you doing in that igloo? Yeah? I bet you're going for Northern Pike. You got to stick a bigger hole in it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. Yeah. Bigger hole. Igloo. Yes. Yeah. 6 blocks. Yeah. Uh-huh. No. No, the only way I get Sileo show is if I go on crack streams. Yeah, I know. Canada. The guy fucked the whole thing up here. It's all good. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no. Sileo, S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Why are you hollering? Because I'm in an igloo. Oh, man. Who am I talking to? I don't know. I'm in an igloo. What do you want from me? Oh, man. Jason Cole at the bottom of the hour. How you doing? Hey, I'm with you, man. Jesus Christ. Hey, you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen next Thursday? They're going to get down to 32. Howie Roseman moves out of the next 3 rounds. He's going to take all of his picks and go to the 3rd day of the draft. Everyone's going to go, wait a minute. Everybody's got everyone's got their draft boards up, who they're going to go. Howie goes, yes, we're trading the 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round picks. And we're going to go get whomever. And we're not going to have a draft pick until the 3rd day on Saturday. Oh, man. Yes, sir. All right. Continuing. Edge. Now, I put Edge and LB together, okay? Abdul Carter, 1. James Pierce, 2. and Michael Williams, Georgia, 3. Those are my top 3 guys at edge. Defensive ends. The kid Stewart, I'm done. You know how many times people have asked me that, what do you think of Shamar Stewart? I'm like, he's not a good player. He looks like a gym rat. I heard John McMullen talking about the upside. Upside is a guy who makes plays, not a guy who looks good in the gym, don't you think? What's his upside? He's going to get stronger. He's going to get faster. Can he play? That's right, Daz. That kid Stewart from A&M has no production. Hey, Daz. It's a great take. Let me ask you this, Daz. Would you want to draft a guy in the first round that was fast, athletic, or a guy who had 15 sacks and 75 tackles and played on a great football team? Who would you rather have? I'd rather have the slower guy who made more plays. Isn't that what you're hoping for with Jeremiah Trotter? That he could take over for Oren Burks? He's not the fastest guy, but he looks like he knows what he's doing, right? Dude, gym rats aren't football players. They're gym rats. I'm looking for football players. I want a football player. And Shamar Stewart from A&M doesn't look like a football player. When I put his tape on, he does not look like a football player. He looks like a combine. He looks like a combine star. He's a superstar in shorts. I want a superstar in pads and a helmet. I mean, here, you know who else? Get this, defensive ends. I got the other kid from A&M. I've got Landon Jackson from Arkansas. These are true ends. And I got Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer, get this. A lot of people don't have him in the first round. Well, let me ask you this then. So the guy was the captain of the national championship football team. Tell me who you think this guy sounds like, Jack Sawyer, okay? Didn't necessarily have a great combine. Had a phenomenal postseason in the playoffs. Jack Sawyer had a fabulous postseason in the playoffs. Game-changing play against Texas. Interception, returns it for a touchdown. Had 13, 14 sacks. Ton of winning at Ohio State. Won a lot of games. Works hard. Boy, if that doesn't sound like Jalen Hurts, I don't know who does. Why do you only apply that for Hurts and not him? Isn't Jack Sawyer the defensive end version of Hurts in college? What's the difference? He's a winner. He's played in a top flight organization, Ohio State. He was the captain of the team. How does that not sound like Jalen? Aren't you trying to mimic what Jalen Hurts and what made Jalen Hurts great? With another player at another position? Sounds like the MO for Hurts here. I love this player, and I think he's a safe pick. He's an economical pick, and you can get him in the second or third round. And I think he's going to be just as productive as Landon Dickerson, Jalen Hurts, Cooper DeJean. Those guys were all second rounders. Why wouldn't he? All your second rounders. Cam Jurgens, Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson, Jack Sawyer. All those guys made Pro Bowl. Just because they have a first-round distinction on them I don't think there's first-round guys down there for you. They're all the same. Milton Williams, third rounder. Shit, Josh Sweat, fourth rounder. I don't know. What am I missing here? You guys have been more successful, I would say, than any other team outside the Rams. You and the Rams. In later rounds. Keely Ringo's a nobody yet. I'm talking about guys who are Pro Bowlers, not guys that are bowlers. Okay? Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Says, why do I got the feeling that Sawyer will be more productive than the edge guys from A&M? Because he will be. He's a better ball player. Those other guys are track stars. The Stewart, who do you think has the better chance of success? Stewart? By the way, ask yourself this. Xander, correct me if I'm wrong. Why wouldn't Walter Nolan transfer from A&M when you have two potential stars in Nick Scouton and Shamar Stewart? Why would he change and go to Ole Miss? A&M pays a lot of money to its players. Ain't like he took a pay cut at Texas A&M. Why would he take a pay cut? Touche, because Dumbo Fisher was there and then left. Okay, that could be true. That guy, you know what? Worst thing ever happened in the world to that guy is he won a national title at FSU. Because you want to hear this? He signed a 7-year deal at $75 million. And it was fully guaranteed. $75 million. You know what his buyout was? 50. Man, seriously, if I had to do it all over again, I would have never been a talk show host. I would have been a failure coach, because you don't have to be good. You just have to be below average a little bit. And you make a lot of money. You don't have to be great. I like Jack Sawyer, man. If I were, hey, you know what I should do? If I was going to draft a running back between Ashton Genty, Boise State, Omarion Hampton, UNC, or Travion Henderson, who would I draft? I would draft Travion Henderson over any one of those guys. Why? Bill Parcells had a rule. He never drafted a guy that was a running back in any draft he's ever been associated with in the top 3 rounds. Never. And he won running the ball. Ever. I'm not wasting a first or second round draft pick on a running back. The Eagles didn't have to. They got Barkley. Imagine that. Last year, the Eagles got 2 first-round picks, and you don't even know it. They got a free agent in Barkley because the Giants didn't know what to do with it. You had 2 first-round picks last year. Barkley played like a first-rounder. And you didn't have to draft or use any assets to get it. You won a Super Bowl with the Giants' first-round pick. How freaking amazing is that? Isn't that insane? You won the Super Bowl with the Giants' second overall pick. Crazy. Wide receiver, Ted McMullen, Travis Hunter, Ibuka. I'll take the lesser guy here. Who's my quarterback? Is going to matter, not who the receiver is. I'm not looking for a big-time receiver. I'm looking for a good one. Do you know the majority of the great wide receivers in the NFL today are all second-round picks? I mean, what was DK Metcalf? What was A.J. Brown? What was Devontae Adams? All those guys were second-round picks. 63% of all the All-Pros in the last 10 years are second-rounders. Cooper DeJean, second-rounder. Not Cooper DeJean. Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua, second-rounder. I'm not going to sign a wide receiver in the first round. You know why the Eagles could? O-line. Okay? Tight end. Tyler Warren. Colston Loveland. Mason Taylor. Taking Mason Taylor. How much difference do you think Mason Taylor is to Colston Loveland? I'm going to tell you a little secret about Mason Taylor. I know the kid. Went to St. Thomas Aquinas. Obviously, you know I know Joy. You know what the problem was with him? He didn't start playing football at St. Thomas Aquinas until later in his high school, where he started thinking seriously about it. He wanted to play hoop. He wanted to be a hoop player. So guess what he did? Then he started focusing his junior year at St. Thomas, being more of a football guy. He's a late bloomer is my take on him. I've talked to Jason Taylor. I'd take him at tight end. I'd get him in the 4th round. He may not be there because he's going up the board quick. Okay? So he may be a 2nd or 3rd round guy by the time of the draft. Plus, you're going to look at the fact that he's related to Jason. It's a kid. You see what I'm saying? What I'm doing here? I'm not taking the top end guys because I don't think those guys are worthy of the pick where they're going to be taken. Tat McMullen's going to be the 6th player taken. In any other normal draft, he'd be the 20th. No, thank you. I'll take the kid from Ohio State who played on a bigger program than the kid at Arizona. Okay? Didn't Nabuka play at a bigger program? Played with Will Howard. I'll take him, right? Played at a bigger program. I mean, O-line, Will Campbell, Meeboo, Josh Simmons. I'll take Simmons. Sills, what? Don't you take Meeboo? How much difference do you think there is in Simmons and Meeboo? Maybe a little. There's a difference there. Campbell, I'll make a prediction to you. In 3 years, Will Campbell will be a right guard because his arms are too short. I guarantee, ask Slareth. Me and him talked about it. He'll be a right guard in 2 years. 2 years. He'll be a right guard. Jason Cole's going to join us in a couple minutes. OG, now this is where I probably go Tyler Booker or Donovan Jackson. Those 2 guys I would take. I'm probably going to take. See, I don't trust the kids coming out of Bama anymore because of the coaching. Now, if that's a Saban guy, I'll take Booker. I'm going to assume he is. Once we get away from the Saban guys at Bama, I'm not sure about that program anymore. I don't know who you're bringing in. You really think that Alabama's going to bring in the same type of quality kids because they're dicking around with nil that they did under Saban? No way. Those guys are all going to Georgia, LSU, Texas, Tennessee, Ohio State, places like that. They're not going to Bama. You watch Bama in 3 years, they're going to be an 8-4 team. You watch. Under this coach, then they're going to have to get somebody in there, and they're going to have a come-to-Jesus conversation on what they want to do with nil. It really was a special non-playing season last year, adding 3 players and played like first-rounders to the roster. Can it happen again? Boy, that's a big ask. You're right. I mean, think about it. You got first-round play out of Zach Bond, first-round play out of Saquon Barkley, first-round play out of Mekhi Becton, first-round play out of Cooper DeJean, first-round play out of Quinyon Mitchell. You really think you're going to do that again? Man, that's a tough putt. That is an absolute tough putt to sit there and think you're going to duplicate that again. DT. I'm probably going to take Walter Nolan. A lot of people like him. Do I see Walter Nolan, Ole Miss, Walter Nolan, Jalen Carter in college? No. Jalen Carter in college looks almost the same. Jalen Carter in Philly. He looks the same. The game hasn't been too big for him. Like, he stepped on the field, an NFL field. The competition was not a big change for him. The speed of the game was not a big change for him. Like when Mozzie Smith stepped on the field from Michigan to Dallas and played in the NFC East, it was night and day. He's got the worst feet I've ever seen, and I see a lot of similarities. Go put Mozzie Smith's tape on at Michigan and then watch Walter Nolan. And then you tell me if you see the same guy. I put it side by side, and I see Mozzie Smith, Michigan, Walter Nolan. They look like the same guy. The same guy. By the way, Mozzie played with Mason and Grant. So don't tell me about good players on it. There were good players at Michigan. What's his excuse for having shitty feet? None. He has shitty feet. Mozzie Smith has bad feet. He's a powerful, explosive guy. Hey, dude, when you're playing against Northwestern and you're lighting guys up, Northwestern, remember this. You make missiles, bombs, and debate teams at Northwestern. You don't make football teams at Northwestern. Or Rutgers. Rutgers not bad. I like Greg. Okay? The Big Ten's not that strong a conference. I mean, Iowa's got good players. Are they a great program? 8-4? Michigan State, they've been down for 10 years. Illinois, they kind of got better a little bit. What are they, 8-4? Kind of like that too. Indiana was overrated. Northwestern, terrible. Rutgers, okay. Maryland, okay. Penn State, horrible coach. Good talent, can't coach it. Michigan, never be the same without Harbaugh. Minnesota, okay. Wisconsin, okay. Jesus, man. Nebraska, okay. These are okay programs. USC, okay. Oregon, good. UCLA, okay. Here, watch. I'll go down that list with SEC. This is what I'm talking about, where you're going to get your guys from. LSU, great program. Bama, great program. Auburn, very good program. Tennessee, great program. Gators, really good program. Georgia, exceptional program. South Carolina, great talent. Dude, you go down the list. A&M, great talent. Oklahoma, good talent. Texas, great talent. Come on, man. So when I take a kid out of the Big Ten, I'm like, who are you playing against? Can you name me a quarterback that came out of the Big Ten that's been a superstar in the last 5 years? Can you name me one? Prior to Oregon getting in there. NSC. Can you name me a quarterback? Name me a quarterback that came out of the Big Ten in the last 5 years. That was good. I don't know. I don't know. All right. I'll tell you what, man. Yesterday we had Brent Musburger on with us, and it was quite a conversation. And Brent was absolutely insane. And he's been awarded the Pete Rozelle Award, and that is for TV and radio. Last year, Merrill Reese won that award. And they're going to go into the Hall of Fame, and I believe that's during the Hall of Fame ceremony in August coming up at the Hall of Fame game and Hall of Fame week. The significance of that, we're going to ask our friend here. Let's bring him on now with us, Jason Cole, and get his thoughts. Jace, how you doing, my friend?
I'm fantastic. What's going on?
Tell me what you think, Jay, what that award means of TV and radio, especially the impact that Brent had. You know, we were going over the NFL on CBS, that great show that they had with Phyllis George when you and I were kids. We were watching that thing with all those great folks that used to go on there. Jimmy the Greek used to go on there.
Will McDonough, baby. Will Thrill. There you go.
Tell me what you think of that award.
Well, I mean, that's what back when that show really mattered, because there was no other place to go get that kind of information. ESPN didn't exist. We didn't have, 10 billion different places to go get information on games and sites and all that other stuff. I mean, it's a breakthrough show. I mean, putting Greek on TV, Jimmy the Greek on television. I mean, they pissed off Pete Rozelle. It's kind of funny that Musburger's getting in the Rozelle Award, given how much Pete hated having Jimmy the Greek on television.
You know what he said, though? Listen to this, Jace. There was a directive that came from Rozelle itself that said no point spreads, and you couldn't give the number out. That's why the Greek kind of fudged that thing on that. They never gave the number out, but they got around it because the Greek used slick language to get around it.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They knew. The best one was always if the Greek didn't have a good early set, and he'd just be going just like that, right? It's like and trying to give the numbers in the afternoon, the desperation that would kind of come through. But like, it was breakthrough programming, and it was, pregame shows are no longer relevant. Okay, because everybody knows the information. I cannot tell you the last time I watched a pregame show for anything other than, okay, was there some news spot that I needed to hear about? But nobody watches it anymore. People barely watch the halftime shows because there's no news on it. There's nothing breaking. It's all on Twitter. It's all on social media. People find it out like that. So you don't need the pregame shows. The postgame shows don't matter. It's just jabber. And everybody jabbers about the same jabber, right? And they just talk, it's the same opinions. Like, if I got to hear one more guy, the running, like if I got to hear Howard tell me what, team that wins the turnover battle is going to, like, really? Thanks, Bill. That's some deep analysis, man. That's some really deep analysis, right? I mean, there's just a sameness to everything that everybody does. When Musburger was doing it, it felt original and different. And that's because media was different back then. I'm not saying the old days were better. They just were what they were.
How about this? They were maybe more authentic.
Well, they had to be, because they were alone. I mean, they were doing things that were new. So obviously it's more authentic. It's new. They're trying stuff that's different. They're pushing boundaries a little bit more. Again, putting Will McDonough on as an insider was a chancy thing to do. It was not normal in sports programming to do that with a regular daily reporter to do that. Now, you did it in politics, but it was more for analysis. Will was actually giving out news. Yeah. Will was telling you up to date what was going on, because it was a different era and news did not travel as fast. So they were a special time, special place. It's sort of like, if you look at the computer industry, it's sort of like Paul Allen and Bill Gates. Special time, special place, special people did special things.
What does Aaron Rodgers do next, in your opinion? Where are we going with this? Is he going to retire? Is he waiting for the draft? I mean, I saw him throw something out there that he was going to play for $10 million. Okay. I mean, what's next for him, in your opinion?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Does it matter? Does he matter anymore? Does he?
Yeah, he matters. He's
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers. Okay, he's a relevant player. Now, how relevant? We'll find out. You know, he's got to get on the field and he's got to work with. Part of how relevant he is how into wherever he goes, and how much does he dedicate himself to the craft? Like, does he get in right after the draft and say, okay, I'm full board to learn everything about the guys around me, and so that I'm totally sold in? Or is he doing the game where he's waiting till the last minute because it's like, oh, you know, I can learn that stuff right away? And it's like, no, dude, you can't anymore. Okay. I watched Marino go through this in the latter part of his years where it's like, well, I don't need to be there in the offseason. No, you do. You really do need to be there in the offseason, even more so than ever before. And I know he's a little bit tuned out, and I know and I get it. You know, it's tiring. It's exhausting. But do you want to maximize the last little bit of time that you have? That's why I wish he would just sign right now and get it over with and get it done and prove to the guys that he's going to be working with that he's bought in.
Can you dent your legacy at the end when you're a surefire Hall of Famer? I mean, first ballot guy, he's without a doubt one of the greatest throwers of football in the history of the sport. Can a guy like that, I mean, I just wonder with a guy like that, because the toughest thing for football players, even Brady went through it in a way. I mean, he was 7-9 his last year, putting the game down. I mean, is that where we are with him right now, is just figuring out if I can put the game down?
I think he's ready to put the game down.
Okay.
I think he's at a stage where, you know, like it's a flip of the coin kind of thing. I feel that, like, that's part of my feel when you listen to him. I get the feeling of, yeah, I don't know if I want to do it or if I don't want to do it. And so it's like it's an iffy kind of thing. And to me, like, that's closer to being 1 foot out and you're gone. But there are people still interested, and if he gets kind of a fire under his ass, like he could do it. But it's just kind of close, and and if I was a coach at this point in time, I would probably be sitting there going, let me deal with somebody else.
Yeah, let me deal with Jalen. If I'm the Steelers, I'd rather Jalen Milroe and take my shot whether he's a real guy. Well, wait a minute. Listen, here's where I'm going with it. Well, what do you got with Rodgers? A year? At least I got potentially something where I can work with it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going Jalen Milroe or
Jackson Dart.
Yeah, if I'm going one of those guys, like, I mean, I'm stripping a lot of stuff down, man.
Hey, I'm with you, man. You're in the world of – see, this goes down to this, though. The Steelers never really had a transition plan from Roethlisberger. They're still dealing with it.
But nobody – yeah. Let me just say this. How many teams have ever really had a transition plan?
Dolphins are still kind of in a way because Tua's been the best quarterback they've had since Marino.
Right. I mean, it's most teams – yeah. The 49ers went from Montana to Young in one of the most uncomfortable, ugly divorces of all time. And the Packers went from Favre to Rodgers in one of the ugliest divorces of all time.
Hey, but Jason, they went from Montana to Young to Carmazzi to Drunkenmiller. So I mean,
yeah, right, yeah, it's all like it just went, like most of the time, 99% of the time, you go from the franchise quarterback, you're going to hurt for a long time. And that's just the way it's been. I mean, when Bradshaw was out, it's Mark Malone, who was, pedestrian kind of guy. Not a bad career, but nothing special, right? He's a better broadcaster than he was a player. Like, you just kind of look at it and go, this is not, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be easy. And so they're struggling with it right now, but I don't think any of the rookies in this class are particularly impressive Like, and we're seeing it play out. Like, Cam Ward, okay, probably goes number one, but nobody is jumping up going, give me Cam Ward, right?
No,
Because then
no.
Tennessee has tried. They have tried to get somebody to
Jake,
do that.
I said the value in this draft is at the bottom and in the second and third round. I think it's bottom and second.
It's a very deep draft. It's a very deep draft with a lot of very competent starting players. So if you have a pick from about 10, you want to have the most picks you can possibly have, really from 10, 11 until about 60. This is a very strong draft. And even into the third round. Okay. It's a very, very strong draft that way. It's just not a lot of stars. It ain't
right.
It's not, and even the guys who are stars like Travis Hunter is not an all-time great corner. And he's not an all-time great wide receiver, but he is a fascinating player that he's going to be a very good corner, maybe a very good wide receiver. And he's going to be some kind of combination of, he's going to be a headache to deal with if he goes out and plays a certain number of plays at wide receiver every game.
I threw this comparison out, and you tell me what a value of this would be. Now, I know completely different sports. I know one's more physical than the other. Can make the conversation about what one skill set is a little bit more dangerous to one, but what's the value of Shohei Ohtani being able to throw 105 miles an hour, win 12 games, turn around and hit 50?
Well, he's never thrown 105, but he's 98.
Okay, well, wait. The value, where I'm going at with Travis Hunter is if you have a guy that can do both in multiple places and go multiple times, and you have a guy who could play and be a star at multiple positions, the value for the Dodgers is that guy is a 12, 13 game winner every year and hits you 50 homers. There's a value to that. So what's the value to Hunter if he can do and be a star at both ends? Maybe not the best wideout, maybe not the best corner, but he's doing both. Is there a value there?
There's definitely value. And you'll put people in seats to watch him. I mean, he's not quite Dion, but it's kind of the same thing. Dion did both for a time, and I think Hunter's probably better he's a better combination of both than Dion was. Dion is the greatest corner, the greatest cover corner ever play. And he was a very good wide receiver, an electric kind of guy. But I think Hunter's probably a better receiver and more in the Champ Bailey kind of conversation as a corner. Like I get the feeling like that's what he could be, which is pretty extraordinary. That's Hall of Fame kind of stuff, possibly. Now, compare him to Shohei. The problem with Shohei, when you talk about influences, the Japanese thing just blows the whole thing. I mean, from an economic standpoint, it blows the whole thing out of the water. I mean, his star power internationally is just, people do not understand. Like Travis Hunter, as good as he ever will be, will never match that kind of international marketing. Maybe he gets some Bo Jackson comparisons.
Well, I have to always defer to my friend from Stanford because he did correct me. Ohtani's fastest pitch was 102 miles an hour in the World Baseball Classic, March 16, 2023. So, excuse me for being
2 years later, and an arm injury later. Okay, so yeah, it was that fastball. It was the fastball he threw to Trout on the last pitch to strike out Trout in the World Baseball Classic. Yeah,
look at this. See, this is why this is Stanford versus UM. All right, couple last ones here for you. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. Is that a lasting relationship?
Probably. They don't give away quarterbacks. They don't let they had a lasting. They
let Carson Palmer roll to the Raiders.
Yeah, but Carson just got tired of it. Carson forced that divorce. The Bengals would not have done that divorce. The Bengals would not have done that if it was their own druthers. But they went with Andy Dalton as long as it could. Now, Joe Burrow probably is a better player than even Carson, and Carson was pretty good, damn good player.
Yeah.
Burrow's probably better than Carson. I don't know, but I don't know if he has the stones to to pull what Carson Palmer pulled. And I don't, like that takes, you got to have some pretty big balls to say.
Oh yeah, no, you have to have some big
I want
onions.
out. Right.
No, you gotta have some big onions to do that.
Right. And you're in Ohio, it's a difference between you're a California dude who's not really married to that area, and you can, if you don't really care what the people in Ohio think, whereas Joe Burrow is an Ohio guy who sounds like he's going to live the rest of his life in Ohio, and is going to have to deal with, you really walked away from Cincinnati. Like, some people don't understand. Like, most people with a brain would understand, yeah, I'm tired of that. But there are going to be some people who'd be pissed about it.
My final question to you, is Deion Sanders the future NFL head coach?
No.
You think he stays in the college where he can push everyone around?
I think he stays in college where he can do his podcast on Wednesday that he does. He can, show up to coach a couple of times a week where
Never
he doesn't
have to recruit, never have to lead.
Never has to, go to somebody's house. Never, I mean,
that's what I think. I think he's got.
I like what Deion's doing. Don't get me wrong. Okay, this comes up. I've got one eye open, going, how does this really work? But he's making it work, right?
He is.
But you can do that at the college level. At the pro level, like, you're going to get outworked.
Oh yeah,
they are going to work you. Right, they're going to work you
mentally and physically. They're going to work.
They're going to work. And now, I'm not saying he's not capable of coaching at the NFL level. I say, does he want to coach at the NFL level and have to deal with all of that stuff and not do all the other BS kind of stuff that he does? Because that's part of the Deion shtick, man. Like, being in college affords him a certain amount of freedom that pros don't really allow you that kind of freedom, man. Because you try and have that kind of freedom, it's like, hey, we're gonna fry you on a Sunday, man. We're gonna and we will take you to the woodshed. There's not, like in college, like, out of those 12 games that you play, you're gonna be a heavy favorite in 9 of them.
All right, well, I got to ask you this here. All right,
okay.
Larry Fitzgerald, first ballot. These will be the
guys.
Probably the guys that will be eligible for the 26th consideration for the Hall of Fame.
I haven't looked at the whole ballot.
Fitzgerald,
probably.
Breeze,
yes.
Frank Gore,
no.
He's the
Hall
second.
of Famer. Hall of Famer. I love Frank Gore. It's gonna be hard for him to go first ballot. He doesn't even have
nope.
like Curtis Martin. He doesn't have the Curtis Martin kind of. He's got great numbers.
He is second all time in rushing.
Frank Gore. I love Frank Gore, but Frank Gore is a lot closer to Don Sutton as a Hall of Famer than he is to who would I put up there? Sandy Koufax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between those guys. One's electric and generational. And another one is a guy who took the ball every 5 days for 24 years and earned his way to it. Frank's a lot more like that, like Don Sutton. That's Hall of Famer. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like, hey, we just walk in. Right.
2 more here. Phillip Rivers. Would you put Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame over Eli Manning this coming offseason?
No, I would not. But I would.
Phillip's better. Phillip's a better player.
Yeah, Phillip's a better player. But I'm not saying I would put either one of them in.
Now, here's the last one for Eagle fans. LaShawn McCoy.
Who's better, him or Ricky Waters?
McCoy.
Really?
Yeah. He's got
Really?
11,000. He's got 11,000 rushing yards.
What's
I know.
What's Rick?
I
What's
had to
Ricky
look.
got?
I had to look that up. I mean,
I mean, I haven't studied it.
I know. I'm asking you off the top of my
I
head.
haven't studied it. I mean, McCoy's going to be in the discussion, but first ballot? No. Here's the biggest problem that we're going to face is the math on getting guys in, and I really, I hope the Hall of Fame really rethinks the way that they're doing this, where you have 7 guys make the final.
Yeah.
But and you can vote for 5. And this year we only got 3 in because we're really hurting the modern day guys. And it's going to be really tough especially in a year where you have a guy like Breeze, who is just everybody's going to vote for Breeze, right?
Oh yeah.
So in that process, 50 out of 50 vote for him, and that takes 10 potential votes away from other guys who might need those votes to get in, or a Fitzgerald. Like, let's just say this: you got 7 guys there. You got 50 people voting, and they can vote for 5 people. You've only got 250 votes to split, and anybody to get in has to get 40, right?
Yeah.
So think about this math: 250. If you have Fitzgerald, who's going to get 45, maybe 50, and Breeze, who should get 50, right? Now you've only got like 100 to 105 ballots, left. Or I'm sorry, 150 to 155 among 5 guys.
Yeah.
Right. So you start doing some really basic math. It gets hard to get more than one other guy in because he's going to take up 40. So now you got 110 to 115 among 4 guys.
Yeah.
Right. Like that. All of a sudden, like getting more than 3 guys in that one, brutal.
Absolutely. Jace, you have yourself a happy Easter this weekend, and make sure you have yourself a great Good Friday today. Thank you so much for always doing this and finding time for me. God bless, man. Talk to you next week. Thank you so much, my friend.
Happy Easter, dude. Be good.
You got it. Our friend Jason Cole. Guys are great, and I wish you guys the same. I hope you have a great Good Friday today. The Lord on Sunday with happy Easter, Passover too, for every one of our friends, each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for this week. What a week next week. 89th NFL draft next Thursday. Have a great weekend. Big Joe, Xander, thank you very much. 2 to 6 on Monday. Have yourself a fabulous weekend.